conversation. He goes, I've noticed a little thing between you and Brett.
What?
Nothing.
No matter what happens, I want you all to stay together, and I want you to do what you need to do to get out of here. Don't worry about me. Help as you can if you can. But mostly worry about yourselves, okay?
I'm not leaving you alone. You can do this.
If anything happens, I want to know that you will be okay.
I'll be safe.
Actually, he flips the conversation. He goes, I've noticed a little thing between you and Brett.
What?
Nothing.
No matter what happens, I want you all to stay together, and I want you to do what you need to do to get out of here. Don't worry about me. Help as you can if you can. But mostly worry about yourselves, okay?
I'm not leaving you alone. You can do this.
If anything happens, I want to know that you will be okay.
I'll be safe.
Everyone still hear the background?
Hey Val, Polly says he can't hear you.
I accidentally hit the spacebar on the other thing. But as you guys were in this room and got your thieving little fingers on all the different items that you could, you heard the loud metallic stepping noises of some other creature, and slowly you all decided to leave through the one door that led out of this room and make your way out, encountering skeletons almost immediately. And though a fantastic performance was put on by Racha trying to become one of them, they unfortunately saw past this charade and commenced their attack. During the battle, you guys intercepted an interesting metallic, large-looking spider, and the fight continued. Racha eventually succumbing to an interesting ability of this creature's and getting taken aboard its back and away. You guys gave pursuit after dispatching the remaining skeletons, and as soon as you got to him, he vanished. You guys had more skeletons to face and some interesting humanoid black smoke creatures. But dispatching them, barely, and continuing on, you guys went downstairs after speaking with Racha through ascending, figuring out he was underground, and ended up encountering some rust monsters, with Amric taking an interesting hit by one. As Amric lets his dog out, we come back, and you guys were starting to head out of this room when Nori tripped a trap. Hearing the stone moving somewhere further on in the keep, Bryn was able to tell the direction, and you guys decided to go in the opposite, except for Kaporin, who decided to take a peek. This saw that you guys were being hunted by another metallic spider creature, who almost immediately incapacitated Kaporin, took him upon his back, and vanished. With 7 rust monsters now chasing behind you, you guys decided to run for it and leave Kaporin to his fate. Hopefully he would go where Racha was, and you guys could save both. But as you guys went through the next set of double doors, closing them behind you, the rust monsters impacting against the door were able to finally force their way through. Between Rashi's wall of fire and Nori's puppy summoning, you guys were able to dispatch them and use the puppies as trap triggers, and quickly realized that there were some traps to be triggered. But moving along, you guys ended up going through another set of doors, one with a golden knocker on it. And as soon as Nori went through, she was pounced upon by a metallic spider. You think she would learn not to be the first one through. But battle commenced. It got dicey, but dispatching that one, Bryn went to the stairs to look down and saw the one from earlier that you guys had damaged pretty severely. Getting into a quick fight with it, but putting it down, you guys moved forward, eventually finding where Racha and Kaporin were being held. With an interesting, inspired decision from Rashi to use the adamantine leg of one of the dead spiders to open up the doors, you were able to get Racha and Kaporin out when an interesting metallic monster down at the end of the hallway started to come towards you all. Luckily, with your entire group together, you guys were able to pretty handily deal with it almost immediately, though it got some good hits in. With quiet now over the group, you guys decided to shove your way into one of what looks like abandoned rooms, post up in the corner with the tiny hut, and take a short rest, which was direly needed. Upon further inspection of the dungeon down here, you guys found a locked metallic door. And Bryn, through inspiration of her own, as well as if anyone had looked too hard on the back of the shield, saw a combination to be used on this door as buttons were found along its hinges. Opening this door and moving to the next set. Again, Bryn's inspiration was able to allow her to open up the door and you guys to move through, finding an interesting looking crystal with black smoke around it suspended above a pillar. Well, Bryn had gotten you all this far, so you all kind of quietly voted her to go ahead and take care of the crystal as well. And as she moved forward, gripping the crystal and ripping it out of its location, shattering it in between her hands, nothing seemed to happen. But you guys decided to at least find a way out. Shortly thereafter, as you guys were coming up the stairs, Bryn had magically summoned a scroll into her hand. And as she unfurled it and read it, found her name at the bottom of this keep's contract, deed and ownership title. As soon as she did that, she had the sudden realization of every room and the entire layout of this entire grounds, as she was now the owner of said keep. You then got to what anybody else would do, and the looting began. As Richa, with a fire lit under his butt, knowing that everything else was dead or taken care of in his keep, went around room to room, gathering and finding what he could, and brought home quite a haul. Now, we had discussed you guys staying off session. You guys are going to stay here for a day, correct? Overnight and leave the next day, or one full day?
I think we were one full day.
I think one full day, so we have time to attune and practice where applicable with our new items.
Okay.
We're not too
Maybe
associated with
see
it.
if anybody. Go ahead, sorry. Oh, maybe see if anybody comes since the darkness went away.
All right. So, you guys have divvied up the items that you wanted to, divvied up the amount of coin that was found, taking one of those lower chambers of the dungeon that you guys had come across and using that as your vault. You guys using, which room do you guys want to use as your vault? Obviously the ones behind the metal doors with the combination, but you have two rooms,
Mm-hmm.
the one that had the crystal in it, or the middle one. I would suggest the middle one because the crystal room has an opening to it in the statue.
Yeah, I was going to ask which room has the shortcut.
Yeah, that's the crystal room.
Yeah, so that middle room would probably be best.
Okay, easy enough to do. And there's plenty of crates and small chests for you guys to use, so it's not like video game logic where it's just a mound of gold in the middle.
I wanted this to be Harry Potter's vault.
Even Harry Potter's vault had chests and bags in there. But nevertheless, you guys have divvied up the items, attuned to the items that each one of you guys had decided to use and take. The money had been split between all persons of the party, and rooms had been somewhat figured out. There are 6, so everyone can have their own, or people can shack up if they want to. But Nori's got to kick Bryn to the couch every now and again. So she's got to have her own room too.
This is my castle.
Yeah, it is
One
her
times
house.
it's mine.
Warren's gonna state that she already said it's our castle, not her castle, and Bryn stated that several times last session.
Well, okay, so the days that Nori gets too much into the dirt, messing around with the garden, and Bryn doesn't want to sleep in the same bed, Bryn needs to have an extra room. But Also, in that castle, there is a training room. There is kitchen and storerooms. There is an armory where you can craft and create weapons. And then there is a dining hall. You guys saw that one. And in the tower room is technically an alchemist station. So things that would be too hard to create, Richa, just out of alchemist supplies, you could use the alchemist station, and it would give you advantage on creation of stuff. Just same for the armory and things like that. This would also be technically a location in case someone wants to multi-class. So if Kaporin for some reason wanted to multi-class into fighter, this could be a spot where Bryn or Amric could teach Kaporin.
We're gonna start the bar gym with Bryn, Amric, and Rajin leading it.
Oh, I bet.
Porn is despising that they're gonna open a gym in the here, and he'd rather be thrown back in the dungeon.
Attendance is mandatory.
The beatings will continue until morale improves. Okay, so spending your day there, getting everything taken care of, all the dusting, and you guys know that you're going to be there the whole day, so if you want to create some windows out of the bedrooms, you certainly can. It's going to be interesting on putting glass in there, though, because there's no sand around to make glass.
Maybe wait till we can get a hold of some sand. We don't have gaping windows.
But nevertheless, as far as things go, your keep rests on top of the hill. Though, like I said, it's more like a small mountain. You guys are pretty much at the apex, the point. Though there is a carriage path in front of the house to drop you guys off. If you follow that path specifically, it's a much more gradual way down the mountain. It just takes a little bit longer. So if you want to be either the kid that, goes slowly around, or who just says fuck it and runs almost 90 degrees and just... your choice is yours. But from the base of said mountain, walking pace all the way up, you're looking at about 45 minutes. So like I said, it's not just a little hill. Though on the deed it says hill.
The point actually, now that the sun's out, wants to look out through the telescope we found earlier. Like, kind of like at the surrounding... Because the window was pointing towards the front, correct?
No, well, it has two. The telescope was set up to the garden.
To the garden.
Yeah, but there are windows to the garden and to the front of the house.
If he could get it pointing to the front of the house and looking down, he would want
that
to.
Would be a lot of work because it's bolted. You could, but it would just take a lot of work. Like I told it when Nori tried moving it, it's meant to be there. But you could still look through it. It looks with like talking to Nori and her gauging things for most of the year, it looks like the moon would cut across where this telescope is looking.
Oh, that's kind of neat. Guess I'm gonna go look at the moon tonight, if you can.
Closest you've ever seen the moon.
Well, the actual moon, that is.
I can just see Kapoor like looking in the telescope, trying to reach out and touch it. But it looks like it's right there.
Apparently, it's mirrors.
I think
It's
with our
mirrors.
int scores, we would all do that, except for Richa.
I can only see really 2 dimensions anyways because of the way my eyes work, so
He's just looking at glass like, what are you guys looking at? Alright, so, Bryn, as far as calendar goes, you can mark off 2 days.
I did have something I wanted to do. So, whatever room Nori ends up claiming, Nori's going to take off any extraneous gears just to get to the point where she can see her chest. And she's going to cast Detect Magic on herself because Zealic's thing is weirding her out, and she wants to see if, I don't know, she's closing one eye because she was just blinded by she was blinded, and she's going to keep one eye closed while doing Detect Magic now because, like, I'd like to have one eye.
Blinded by the light. Unfortunately, your druidic presence and the magic coursing through your blood and veins is too much of a barrier to notice anything else.
All right, then we're going to go find Rashi and ask her to cast Identify on me. It works with spell. It works with people and spells.
I know. It's just in my head. I just
I'm
remember
ready for
that
the sassy response.
I just remember that meme or that GIF. You're a bitch. All right.
And Nori would go look for Rashi and ask her. It's like, hey, do you remember the memory you all watched with the weird symbol that Zelik put on me?
Oh yeah, that was fucked up.
Yeah. Do you think you could cast Identify on me so I can figure out maybe the spell, I guess?
She just like reaches out and like palms your forehead. And she's not gonna ritual cast it because she doesn't want to sit there touching you for 10 minutes.
Preferred.
Unfortunately, she doesn't get much back. There's something on you that's blocking.
So what does she get back? Just nothing, or?
She just gets your name, Druid.
And bitch.
You're a bitch.
Excuse me?
Sorry, Tourette's. I think I'm developing Tourette's.
What? Now I'm wondering what would happen if we dispelled magic on Nori.
Good luck.
Yeah, that. I feel like whatever it is.
Trentimir might kill you.
Yeah, the fact that that warlock didn't come up, you're getting a sense of that's probably what is blocking her.
Oh, so Trentimir might be blocking the fact that I can't remove this. Interesting.
Well, Trentimir's blocking a lot of things.
Yeah, probably. Nori just kind of looks out of your mind, at her arm, just goes, "Hey, bud, just why? I don't understand where you're coming from anymore."
As you say that, remember I told you how the armlet looked? It kind of like spiraled around and up your arm, and the bottom of it was like pointing down to your elbow, and the top of it is like pointing up to your shoulder. As you kind of look down and start talking to it, the point that's poking up towards your shoulder kind of like lifts off from the skin like a snake's head. It kind of just sits there, just kind of porched up, and you see a little tongue just snake out, lick the air a little bit, and kind of retract before it like rests back on your arm. You hadn't tried talking to him in a while, so.
Oh, okay. Are you doing okay there? When did you become a snake? What happened within the 24 hours that I didn't have you on my person?
No response.
I need to find someone smart.
Anybody else want to do anything for your day?
Once Racha establishes his highest perch possible on top of the castle, can he like go around and try and find any sort of evidence of who might have been here prior to us?
I was
like,
waiting for you to say nesting material.
You know, in the process of this part, but he really wants to know like who might, like, he knows of that shelf and the books that are not readable to him at the very least, but is there any other like documentation that would indicate who owned this place before Bryn did?
You get a smattering of different books kind of left in shelvings and bookcases in different rooms, but nothing is identifiable to any specific thing. The only identifiable thing that you guys have in this entirety of this house is Amric's shield. That's the only thing that isn't. That's the only thing that comes across as like a sigil, sign, or possible moniker for someone or something. But like I said, given the size of this place and the the decently large armory, the training area, there was probably a group of people here, not just like a single person's home.
Sounds good. That would be all he does, and then he'd sort of be watching the area from the top of the building just to see if anybody approaches or anybody sort of makes a curious movement towards us.
All right, give me a perception check. Anybody else for the day?
Warren's gonna have a jamming session in his room, and he actually wants to investigate those constructs that attacked us. He's
They're
really
gone.
interested in how. Oh, they're gone.
As soon as Bryn took ownership of this place, all the bodies, the extra skeletons and creatures that you guys hadn't interacted with yet, all of them got ejected.
Ejected, so they're just elsewhere now.
Oh, their matter got ejected.
Warren's just gonna be like angsty teen in the room then, because
I guess the other thing Richard would want to do besides looking like he did, can he reload the traps, or are they magic based and it's not something he could actually do?
The only traps that you can reload are the front door ones, because those are connected to wires and pressure plates and crossbows. There are 8 heavy crossbows pointed at the front door.
Glad we didn't go through the front door then.
Would have been fun.
let's be honest, the bird would have gone to the door first.
The only other trapdoor that you could deal with is the one that Nori stepped on, because that one's a mechanical one as well. But looking at the spot that the rust monsters had come out, it was the wall. The wall basically slid down and unleashed the rust monsters. Pressing it and opening it up and looking back inside, there's a few piles of rusted metal in there, but other than that, there's nothing. It's about a 6-foot by 8-foot hole in the wall. That can be, reset and reloaded. So, you could keep opening and closing that if you wanted to.
Gotcha. Curious thing I might be dealing with that. I'll think about it.
You can hide Warren's fan club later in there.
Why do you want a fan club like that? You just trying to capture people?
I thought he was going to say fan fiction was what it, and it was just like that's his porn room.
All his anime goes in there.
He offers the one book he's been carrying around this whole time to hide in that one room. If not, it's going into study upstairs.
Just have all these like extremely old, probably filled with various bits of novel. I guess there are novels in there, so yeah, you could put it with them.
Just slide the heavily used but sort of newer book in with, basically putting a penthouse alongside Plato and fucking Art of War and this goes right here. I'll be back for you.
Would it be any different with us?
It'll still be the one book that gets used the most.
The one book could be a trap if you consider it that, but hey.
It's only a trap if there's miners inside. Alright. It's called jailbait.
I did have a
Anywho.
thing. It's been a while, so Emmerich will take a large portion of the day to spend out in the garden and kind of commune with nature
Okay.
as much as he can as a fighter.
Yeah, easy enough to do.
I've got stuff
Uh,
along the same lines, but go ahead.
Sorry. You said the path goes like around the mountain a little bit
Yeah,
to go down.
it kind of takes like a spiral around the mountain.
All right. Bryn will let them know that she's just gonna go walk that path and like walk down it. Just kind of walk near the base a little bit, not for too long.
Okay.
Just walk up, just to see what's down near the bottom of the mountain, I guess.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Rachel would go with her.
Yeah,
Just in
I
case.
was gonna be, for lack of a better term, air. I was planning on scouting around the area from the air, just flying up high and seeing what I could see.
Yeah, you guys can coordinate it. Go ahead and give me a perception check, Nori.
$19.
All right, mine doesn't want to roll.
For you, Nori, scouting around, the mountains here they're pretty sparse, at least when it comes to vegetation and trees. Towards the base, you do get smatterings of trees here and there, nothing really condensed or forest-like. Just kind of one-offs and dotting the landscape, but nothing too heavy. Bryn, as you're walking down, you can see grooves where carts probably cut through at one point, and no grass has grown over the pathing, so it at least got treaded down and used for quite a while to stop any sort of growth coming back. But it doesn't seem like it's been used for a decent amount of time, as like topsoil is starting to cover in the cart grooves, and just the edges of the grass on either side are starting to pinch and close in on the path, but still easily recognizable that this is the path to use. This is, the carriage path. And you get to the base of the mountain, and you see what looks to be a very small obelisk of stone, and only sitting about 3 feet off the ground from base to the top, and kind of goes in. It kind of comes to a point like a pyramid. It's got 4 sides, but it's not like a full-on pyramid where it's even. It's just about 2 feet wide and smooth 4 sides to a point at the very top. You can't understand any of the writing that's on there, but the symbol that was on Amrick's shield is at the very base of it. Besides nature stuff, Nori, you don't really see anything else up here. You don't see buildings, you don't see towns. It's just all greenery, grass, trees, bush, just pretty much as far as you can see in all directions.
And are we, based on like climate and stuff, are we more north or more south of the country we're in?
Of the what?
Country we're in, are we further to the north or are we further to the south, or just, can I even tell that?
Using the map, you can tell you're probably somewhere in the middle, because of the map, it shows that little bit of gray portion of Buffon, and since there's greenery around you, you're guessing you're not in that portion of it. So, seeing as how you can't see the coast, you're probably more inland and closer to the east, but you also don't see any of that dark earth color from the Chernow country line, so you're guessing you're probably either closer to Rithadon or you're more centered of Burfone. So, anything else for that day?
Can Bryn go check out, or can like she go poke the stone? Look at it more.
Yeah. You poke it.
If I trace the
It's
any
hard.
of the, or if I trace the like symbol or anything, does anything weird happen? I don't know.
Nope.
Alright.
Just some dust comes off and bits of debris, but were you saying something, Emmerich?
Yeah, Amric will probably use whatever time he isn't outside to just do a little training. I believe you said there was like a training area in the castle, so he'll go there, practice with the new flail.
Okay, easy enough to do. Yeah, there's a full training room where there's training dummies, targets on walls for shooting, just straight up like wooden poles for monk work, the whole nine. All right, so if that's what we do for the day, along with all the equipment passing around in a tuning, then I can dole out experience.
Neither of my things required a tuning, right? It was just the toolkit and the quiver.
The toolkit, I believe, does. Yeah, the toolkit does.
Is there an actual item for the toolkit that he can put into his
I have it, and I
equipment?
just make it available. It's literally the same thing, except taking out the need for artificer attunement. But the quiver does not. So for now, you can just add the toolkit to yourself and put it on there.
Sounds good. And then for the quiver, does it have to be ammunition, or can it be like things of that shape?
It's got to be ammunition.
All right, because I was gonna say, like, could I put the long sword in there if I wanted to or not?
In the long compartment, you can. It says bows, quarterstaff, spears. So you can put in
Gotcha.
swords.
I think somebody's using it, so I don't actually need you. I was just using it for reference.
Okay. All right. So let me get into people's thingamabobbers. Oops. That's wrong. Okay. It'll make it easier if everyone just updates their own thing, rather than me sitting here and giving it to everybody.
There's a lot of faith that you're putting into me right now.
A lot of what?
A
Oh,
lot of
faith. You just go to your manage experience and click on and type in and then add experience.
Great, I'm learning a new thing.
You click on your picture on your character
I
page.
did it. No, I found it.
Okay.
I just don't know what to put in.
How much are we
I learned a
adding?
new thing.
All right, so Amric. Amric, it's 4,135.
135.
Bryn. $5,612. Kaporin, 2,715. Nori, 7,183. Rashi gets 8,902. And Rachar gets 3,111. It sucked for those that got pulled out of the fight. Okay, so that was for the retrievers, the rust monsters, and the skeletons. Now, everyone on top of that put in 2,083. That was for the cadaver collector.
2,083.
Correct.
Okay.
Anybody level up?
No, but boy, am I close.
I'm
I'm half.
happy.
I'm over halfway there to level 11.
I think Rashi's going to level up from this.
Yeah, 10,000 experience will do that to you.
She'll hit fifth. She'll get a 5th level spell now, won't she?
I think so. At the what? She's at level.
Yeah, she just leveled
10?
up to level 9, and she made it halfway to level 10. I will go ahead and say I play a mean Rashi.
Emmerich probably gonna get a little meaner here soon because he's probably been like the most ready in the group to run away so far. But now that he sees that the group is a lot less likely to run away, he's not going to try and get everyone out alive the first time as much.
Yeah, Nori's skittish, but all of her shit is range, so we're good.
That's what his goal is usually for running away too. Like even if we would win this fight, it's better for everyone to come out of it alive, and the group tends to stay and fight, so he's just gonna stay and fight.
You watched Rachad dance through explosions and avoid everything you caused yourself. So fire away.
Warren's just a danger noodle that loves to help his friends as much as he can, even if it means killing
We
him.
have 5th level spells on Rashi. I'll go ahead and...
I'm assuming we get a long rest as a part of this day.
Yeah, you get 2 long rests. So go ahead and roll for your loot, by the way, Kaborin.
I forgot that it was used.
Hell yeah, I used that thing.
I rolled twice or just once?
Yeah, twice. It's 2 days. We'll be coming back on the 2nd day. That should be enough to fill you up. I only used 6.
Technically, the first one was enough to max it out again.
How? Because it had 8 already. You had used 8 by the time I got around to it, and I used 6.
When I just went in there to, I don't know if it recorded it, if you didn't record it properly for you because you had pulling from the sheet. I don't know.
Okay, well, that's still
anything, I'll
that's
make it-
still enough. That's literally no. Instead of 25 charges, you'll have 24.
I'll just remove one.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we're coming back on the second day, the day after you guys had gone down, searched, looked at things, try and find stuff, and now we're the next morning after everything has calmed down and you guys kind of soaked in the fact that you now own this place. At least Bryn owns this place. And what do you guys want to do?
Are we having a meeting in the little dining hall area? And if so, Racha is sitting in one of those 3 chairs.
Okay.
Hornet's middle one.
Do I need to pull up the...
Emmerich will be standing.
Do I need to pull up Tailsbarge so you guys can see?
We're good.
Everyone says no, but I feel like everyone still wants to see it.
Racha is actually sitting on the top of the chairs too, of course. So like he's on the back end of it. And then Nori's voice goes, "So where do we go from here?"
Well, we still need to figure out where here is and how do we get home.
Well, we have some idea. We're in, let's see, we're in the country of Verdun, excuse me. And we're either smack in the middle or middle south because you can't see. You can't see the country Shenao?
Sure now.
Shenao. You know what? I'm just gonna refer to you, and we could be closer to the country directly south of us. Either way, it is a very long trip to both Ixia and Cydia, and I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I gave you guys reference for size. Both Cydia and Ixia are roughly the size of the U.S.
And you're forgetting the worst part of that trip. That, for now, is Ixia's and Cydia's current mortal enemy.
Well, the war is over. Brain, give me an intelligence check.
Yeah, I was gonna say I still just know nothing about this. I don't know if it's because I came in late, or I have the memory of an inebriated fruit fly, or my IQ drops 50 points when I hit join call. But I don't know anything about this war or just nothing.
It's the whole reason Racha's people are over at Artemir.
I'm right there with you, Nori, and it's not because you joined the call.
Well, to be fair, you guys are pretty... When you guys first joined in, were very anti-society. So, besides when you guys were traveling up northern Cydia to deliver Vin at the very beginning and saw the fireworks show happening, that was pretty much your guys' only interaction with the war.
So that entire mountain range on the map is part of Shrenau?
Yes. The Blacktip Mountains of Shernau. I think Bryn's next ASI should just be dumped into intelligence. Because the random shit I make her roll intel for.
Yeah, yeah. Every time I go, well, that's great.
You technically get advantage on it. Yeah, you get advantage on it. Oh, I just realized Rashi's perception went up 1. See, there you go, that's better. You just need to beat a 10.
Oh, hey, I did that.
She had her sip of coffee and now she remembers.
She was kind of thinking just... Oh yeah. We just finished the war, so there's probably soldiers in Shernau. Ixian soldiers.
Are they cute looking?
Where'd that
Did you
bolt of
really
lightning
just
come
ask
from?
that?
Adult red dragon, ancient red dragon, adult red dragon, ancient red
Let's go.
dragon.
For now makes
Corn
me
was-
go dark dragon of some sort, not even some sort of shadow evil dragon.
Oh no, I'm just talking about where you guys are at. Yeah, if you go into Shrenau, Dracolich.
Corn resistance.
Ooh, fun.
Back to the meeting, Amric will probably say, do we even have a feasible way to cross the, what is it called again?
The chasm.
The chasm?
What is the chasm? Would I know that?
Yeah, Tiva would have taught you. The chasm is just, ever since the Frost Queen had frozen the northern lands of this continent from the war that was happening during her time, the specific melting runoff of not only the magical ice that was created this entire northern portion, so the cold water and it being magical has basically, over time, it would all melt and go down in between the mountains here. And over time, it just cut through the mountains and created the chasm.
It's not like there's water or anything. It's just
Yeah,
it's just
water.
like a. Oh, it's water.
It's
Okay.
all water through there, yeah. It's magical water.
There's a world where I spam water walk and we walk across, but that's so highly unlikely that the
That
answer is no.
Oh,
that is days of
I
water.
don't. Yep. And I imagine magical water has lots of magical creatures.
Or buffed magical creatures.
Yeah,
Well, if
where do you think
anything,
the
we
Kenku
gotta get.
people came from?
Racha would point after Bryn assumingly brings up that there could be Ixians in Shrenau. Will point at Shrenau and go, the spire?
Not
But
quite
they-
sure what you mean.
You mean go find their place that's like the spire?
Does tongues work when trying to
Uh,
understand this bird?
No.
I wish. I
No.
don't believe it works that way. Sadly.
But I suppose that'd probably be accurate that their capital would at least have some delegations after the war. If that's what you mean, Richaw.
We take what's ours.
We're looking for an Ixian. You want to look for something similar for an Ixian encampment, or like where they may be their base of operations?
The war is over.
Embassy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
no one ever really got to anyone who could ask any decent questions on what were the terms of the ceasefire or surrender or mutual destruction. Like, you guys, no one ever got to that point figuring out how the war ended. So
Yeah, essentially, Racha's sort of taking a guess and saying, like, if the war is over, Ixian might have conquered Shrenau and now is in occupying their capital, is basically what he's trying to get to.
it's a colony.
Would any of us even know where that capital would be?
Unless it's on the map.
Bingo. He was basically trying to ask Bryn that, so good to know.
I mean, well, we know where we are currently, maybe, but we have to get out of here and I guess at least start making our way down towards Shrenau.
I mean, it's a start.
It's definitely a start, but that's months of travel through debatably safe territory. Debatably in all caps.
Should we stay here for a time and build ourselves up until we have a more feasible amount of resources to make that journey?
I guess we should ask the question: Do we care about the calendar we're keeping?
Yes. Kicks you under the table.
Yeah, I would like to get Rashi back, but
I think the better question
other
is,
things too.
I don't think we can keep the calendar, not without some.
Without finding some sort of flying vehicle that will go for long distances that doesn't require me burning a fifth level spell and only getting it for an hour, we're not making it.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we don't know where Kaporan's other circle goes, and we don't have any other access to another. Nor does he have chalk.
Yes, I only have enough for half a spell. We would have to find some more before.
Well, I've been
else.
thinking about that. What kind of gems do we have?
Yeah, Charles sort of like whips out his toolkit and like puts on his coconut helmet.
I was gonna say
Nori pulls out the ruby she's been hanging on to for like forever and goes, "I have this. It's a 200 GP ruby."
What's a GP?
Gold piece.
Oh.
That was me out of character. Damn it. I have this. Just holding up the gem.
We do have alchemist stations, and Rachal's pretty handy, and I mean, it's not forging, but I'm pretty sure I could help with it too. It just needs to be infused, doesn't it? And he's already got half of it.
Yes.
So we.
I mean, in any sense, I just need another 50.
So what really comes down to it then is, Nori, you're the best nature person here. We're gonna need to find stuff here that can make chalk. If we can make chalk and then infuse it with the rubies, it should work.
Emmerich only slightly offended.
She said the most nature person here, not the only.
That's why he's only slightly.
Okay. She slightly doesn't care.
He doesn't have to like it, but he can accept it.
So am I looking for chalk? You want me to find chalk?
No, not chalk. Don't you know what chalk's made out of?
Yeah, that's what I meant. The stone chalk is made out of. You want me to find that?
Or something as close to it as we can. We can put a couple things together to make it if we had to. I mean, we are on mountains, so different types of rock shouldn't be too hard to find.
Could I go outside and cast Commune with Nature? It lets me look at prevalent plants, minerals, animals, or peoples. Minerals. Yeah. Could I do that? Just go outside and specify
prevalent,
minerals?
So that means the most. It's not going to sit there and give you a diorama of every mineral that exists on this mountain and its quantities and location. It's just going to be like, oh, there's a lot of graphite here.
By chance, because he has separated this magic one from the rest of it, the 2-pound bag of stones that I've been carrying around for no apparent reason whatsoever, but that they're my river stones from the net that I helped clean, does it happen to have those rocks or some sort of mineral of those rocks?
Handing it over to people?
Yeah, I'll just drop the 2 pounds
so they
bag
start talking
right
about
on the
stones
table.
and you just like dump like a child with marbles. Just
exactly, and the special dice is not in there.
Yeah.
Aw.
Between Nori and Rashi kind of looking over the different stones in there, there's a couple things that can be used in conjunction with some other stuff. There's a couple stones that would work, but it's not enough on their own. Just give me a nature check, Nori.
Would Emmerich be able to help since he grew up on a mountain? He might not have found.
So go ahead and roll
That is a 21.
But together, that's 30, which is what was needed.
Good.
So between the two of you and the time that you've spent in the garden, Amric and Nori, you kind of searching around, there's actually some of the plant matter that's needed to break down certain rocks in the garden. And if you take that with some of the more available rock around here, you can make pretty much as much chalk as you want to.
Yeah, I'll take some, making sure to leave a majority of the plant so we can keep growing it. So maybe we can find more gems. We can have a little chalk farm.
Yep.
Porn wants a little Crayola set of chalk now.
But now comes the process of creating magical chalk. So, who wants to undertake this? Rashi's going to help.
So what would the check be here?
I'm not going to say until someone ponies up.
Oh, Rachad's all for it if we're making something or crafting something, but if somebody else would like to take it, he's not going to stop them.
I would vote Richal. Amric's definitely not. He
also
knows
vote Richal.
nothing about magic.
I would actually have attuned to the kit if I needed to attune to it. I wasn't sure if I did. And I will be de-attuning to the Cloak of Protection if somebody would like the Cloak of Protection.
You know what?
Give it to Amric. He just had his AC depleted.
Yeah, Amric will take it, and I guess he'll de-attune to the Shatter Spike for now.
Oh, did you not have an open slot?
No. I have the Periap, the Shield, and the Cloak now. So I'll probably be vaulting the Shatter Spike for now.
And know that since you guys have this keep now, you can leave stuff here. So Rachad's bag of holding doesn't need to be the end-all be-all.
We have a
Because we know what happens if I go down.
Yep.
I go down.
So far down.
Underneath. Alright, so unfortunately the toolkit is not useful here. This is strictly mortar pestle, destroying the ruby. You're not jewelering it or anything like that, so this is literally just pulverizing and trying to work together. Go ahead, Rashi.
I was gonna ask Rashi, do you have enhanceability? I know that's a cleric spell as well. Because if we both cast it, then we can boost Rachad twice.
Well, she doesn't, because I haven't changed any of her spells around.
I also think that it's just advantage, isn't it? It wouldn't casting it twice on me wouldn't do anything.
Well, you can give advantage on different things. So theoretically, it could be like advantage on Dex and advantage on
Yeah,
intelligence.
but this is more of a overtime thing. So just like that, or it's not a I mean, it's technically a check, but this is a check for an hour's worth of work. So, for just like inspiration, this inspiration wouldn't work here. Yes, Kapoor, even if you're playing the entire time.
It does last an hour, if that's helpful at all.
Unfortunately, that's only one thing. There's multiple checks going on. So, Rashi's going to make an Arcana check. Racha, you make a... What's it going to be? Make a sleight of hand check for me. Okay. So, you guys are able to pulverize it. The 200 gold ruby. You guys are actually able to successfully pulverize the entire 200 gold ruby without losing anything. So now, Racha, I need you to make... Okay, she's going to make a medicine check. You're going to make a performance check. Okay, not too bad. But unfortunately, this is going to make her dump a 3rd level spell into it. Because you need to make it magical. So, just got to give up some magic to make it work. All right, and then last check. It's going to be another Arcana from her. I'm going to need an Athletics from you.
How much time does this part take? Because if it's athletics based, I would like to use my magic arms for wisdom checking instead of strength.
How long does your arms last?
They last 10 minutes a key point, so technically I can go a half an hour.
Yeah, if you spend all 3, then I'll let it go through.
Wonderful. And I will roll just a straight wisdom because I don't have proficiency.
All right, 35 was the thing. So you guys have successfully made 200 gold worth of chalk. That's all together over an 8-hour timeline.
I will present it to Caparin and go, it can fit up to 7 people comfortably.
Or maybe fit up 7 people comfortably.
Does this mean we're going to test the other circle?
Well, if anything, this gives us an instant back here.
How many castings is that, Caparin? 200?
It's 100 per.
Yeah, so we have key trips.
2 no place like
Worth
homes.
Perfect.
So, are we going to try going to the other teleportation, and if we have to, come straight back?
Actually, the circle uses 50.
Circle
Worth 50.
You sure?
Rare chalk ink infused with precious gems worth 50 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. I can display it if you like.
Yeah. Yes, you got 4 castings of it then.
Nice.
4 10-minute long oh shit buttons. Or 1 minute long oh shit buttons. There we go.
1 minute or 10.
If you're down to 1 minute oh shit, you're probably okay to do a 10-minute oh shit. Because it's not really oh shit, it's more like fuck.
There's a very key difference there.
I'm adding those items as custom items into my equipment now, so that we have that.
I would be against testing the other circle. I think we already got incredibly lucky with this one.
Richard just sort of nods in agreement and still suggests for now is what he would be going for.
Well, I mean, going into a keep filled with monsters doesn't seem like incredibly lucky.
Well, no point at Bryn, gotta keep out of it, so.
Yeah, after y'all, points to pretty much everybody, almost died.
Is that new?
Where do we go that we don't almost die?
What I'm just saying, like, as far as us doing stuff and getting things away from, it's not like we walked in here and she just got it. We had to kill so much stuff and.
Oh, most of those were already dead, or they were not.
Her being in the cleric gives you just a blank stare.
What do you mean?
I understand they were undead. Or mechanical. My verbiage stays the same.
Warren, the teleportation candy van is waiting for if you would like me to do the spell or not.
He got new chalk. He's like, I'm ready to use the chalk. He's like Willem Dafoe in the back of that cab. Just...
No, you're not the only one that can do fancy things.
mean, I'm down for us to go to Shernau. We just need to pick what we're doing and just do it.
Perhaps we should start with the nearest town.
Do you know where that is?
Nope.
I went scouting and there was nothing for how many miles away could I see?
From Eagle height, 75 miles.
Yeah, there's nothing within 75 miles, so
Is it all just plain lands within that 75 miles?
No, you got like hills and decent sized mountains. Not enough of a range to show up on a map, but you guys are on not the tallest mountain, but where you guys are currently at. They kind of sporadically pop up.
And did
Didn't
you
the
get any indicator of like if like gray of the north are
Nope.
part of Brufone or anything? Man,
Nope.
what did the deed say? We're on the third hill.
Yeah. On top of the third hill. The city of Boduk, the town in the country of Brufone.
No, I mean, if you wouldn't mind, maybe we fly out a bit from here. We don't know necessarily what's around these parts of the world. Best to stay in the air for our own safety.
We at least have cardinal directions we can follow.
yeah, my worry is that burns my only 5th level spell, and if theoretically my concentration breaks while we're in the sky, that's gonna suck for everyone because we're in the sky.
I can get down to the ground pretty safely with one other person.
Well, I think we're in this for the long haul, so we should probably just take horses. We need to if we plan to come back here with any regularity, we need to learn the land anyway.
Machak kind of just goes like this with his hand. Flying.
Flying, going above all the mountains so we don't have so to be shorter.
Just nods.
Well, I suppose for an hour we could fly as far as we can and then land and go on horseback from there. Would that work?
I'm in agreement, if everyone else is.
Do we want to try to reach out to anybody? I mean, the last time we did that, we were in the dream world.
Well, we know wherein we are. I don't think much. I'm sorry.
Just FYI, Rashi, her room, she's hollowed.
What?
Spell?
She used a hollow spell to make her room holy.
So Caparn can't go in, is what I'm hearing.
I don't think Richard can go in either.
It's very possible.
Oh yeah.
Does that affect only her room?
Yeah.
What? I have never heard of that spell. I have to look it up. But
It makes a certain area holy, like a holy site. Ever heard the
Yeah,
term
it's-
"walk on holy hallowed ground"?
oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
It'll-
consecration kind of thing.
It's like a church.
And it gives you extra abilities depending on, like, you can choose stuff. Like, I think there's a thing where you could have tongues on the whole room so everyone can understand each other constantly. Because I've had that before and it was very fun just to meet. It was a meeting room where everyone could understand each other. It made our lives easy.
Yeah.
I want Bryn to walk
Yeah.
into that room and snap into that chess piece.
But with that, she's gonna get up to some shenanigans. But it takes her pretty much that entire. That's why she doesn't really help. Besides, on that one day you guys were all doing stuff, she's just in her room making that place hallowed. But yeah, like the first thing it says, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, and undeads can't enter the area. So, Bryn, you cannot go in there.
She just, like, technically a fiend or something like that? Is that where she falls?
She's got
Celestial.
celestial blood.
Oh, interesting.
She's
So
from the
Oz,
acid blood.
technically the fiend.
How's
Nari
the
and I are
fiend?
the only ones that can probably go in there.
Kaporan goes in there and starts just singing, like, hymns, if he can figure out what are hymns.
Can Nori go in there?
If you want to try.
I want to try.
Okay. You
Shenanigans.
can go in there. Your arm can't. Literally walk in and just kind of like get lifted up in the air for a little bit as your arm's just like, nope.
God damn it. All
That
right.
takes it down to
Whatever.
just Amric.
Warren goes in there.
You're in there for like 10 seconds before you just get ejected out of the window she makes.
What?
You dirty, perverted man, you.
Oh well, I was gonna say he's like half Barnabas.
Hey, Bolfar.
But no, Kaporan, you're fine there.
Oh, you're fine.
Sometimes the best way to keep access to a room is just not go in.
But she also probably won't want you in there for too long anyway, so.
He found
Yeah,
that hidden door that we reset.
Warren will keep this in mind. If Bryn or Nori ever try to come after him, you'll run into the Rashi's room.
Hey, most of me can go through there. You're still in spell range.
I have
Anytime
errands.
Kaporan's about to walk in, she's just gonna make the room go into silence mode.
Well, that's fun. That's cool. That's fun.
Okay, but yeah, her room has been hollowed.
That's cool.
Cha's vote is first for now. I don't know anybody else's vote.
Warren is good wish for now. If we fly and then horseback from there.
Are we sure we don't want to reach out to anybody
Nori,
first?
Yes.
can I talk to you alone?
Yes.
She kind of like drags you away, asking for consent first,
Give the consent.
and then kind of grabs your hand and takes you off to the side. I don't know if it'll work, but seeing everything that happened to you, Cha, get out of here. But we can take a shot at it. I've got dispel evil and good. She points to her chest.
You want to try it?
I don't think this, because my identify didn't work, so I don't think dispel magic's gonna work on you just in general. And even then, I'm not sure if I can pinpoint it to be exactly that. But I'm pretty sure your dad's evil. I'm never 100% sure on anything, but I'm a good 95% sure on it. So if he did something like that to you, this might work. I just don't know if it's gonna affect Trentimir. I'm not saying
That was
Trentimir's
my
evil.
worry.
I'm just saying he might be good. And
Honestly, if he's evil, it would not surprise me at all. I'm stuck with this thing, and buddy, I'm doing my best, but we gotta work something out here.
I mean, it's an option. It doesn't have to be done now. We can try it later, maybe. But I just.
Do you have a spell that lets you see if something is evil or good? I'm referencing detect evil and good. I don't.
I think the closest she would get would be a divine sense, but that doesn't actually do that.
I mean, I need to sleep.
Which day is this on?
This
Which day would it
this is
be?
the second. Because remember, one day she was howling the entire time. But again,
Well-
I don't know if Trentimir would block that. Since I wasn't able to identify, I don't think I'd be able just to see something.
Yeah, and well, maybe I can. I don't know. At some point, I lived with my mentor for years. As much as they've kind of fucked me over in some ways. They knew a lot and they were very careful. If they knew about this mark, and I don't know, maybe they did, and they didn't do anything about it, might not be as dangerous as it is. It's probably pretty dangerous, but I've got Trenton here. I have too many questions and too little answers to do something drastic at the moment.
It's fine. It's just an option.
And I'm greatly appreciate it.
But yeah, if your mentor couldn't, I don't know. Unfortunately, you can't ask her, but if she couldn't even see that it was on you, I mean, it might be really bad.
Yeah, but he's had truly so many opportunities to find and kill me, but why hasn't he?
Well, like my mom always said, it's always the ones you don't think are going to be a problem that eventually become a problem. So maybe, I mean, he does seem like the cocky type, so maybe he just never thought you were going to be a problem until you were.
Well, there was a situation where I was feeble-minded for a month, so then would have been absolutely perfect to do anything.
You did say that when Trentimir's on you, he can't find you. What if he just thought you were dead whenever you finally picked up the locket?
Huh. Interesting.
That's what I would think if I had some magical connection to someone and then it just stopped. So he probably thought his problems were over. It's weird.
Oh, fuck. I didn't have him on when we saw RX.
If I sleep, I can get scrying.
I have scrying too.
But your brother's pretty well protected himself.
That's true. He's good at what he does. And wait, the dream thing. We talked to him and we were 3 years in the future. So, for lack of a better term, you should be okay. So maybe I don't have to worry about it on that point.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Trying very hard not to split that line between player and DM in my head of what I know and what I don't know.
Just please give me answers. I'm so confused.
Rashi don't know shit. She's just trying to help.
Which I really appreciate.
Well, whatever we do, it's gonna be interesting.
No, interesting is the name of the game at this point. All right, let's go get me kicked out of another country.
So, you guys had that full day in which everyone did everything. The second day after the conversations, the chalk was made. So it's not quite nighttime yet, but you guys are starting to move towards there as the Nori and Rashi conversation has gone on. You guys probably wait till the next day to transfer out.
Probably smart. Don't want to go out in the middle of the night in unfamiliar territory just yet.
Okay. So you guys will sleep down another night. Go ahead and mark that off on your schedules.
Is up on the roof, and he'll probably stay actually a little bit later into the night just to see if like things are nocturnal around this area, or for at least a couple of hours.
Okay.
Amric will actually join him because he wants to get a lay of the land and the surrounding wildlife. So as much as he can, I'm sure Rashad's in some place that Amric can't get to, but...
You guys eating together, though? Or is everyone just kind of doing their own thing?
Would Rachel have had enough time to create some sort of like throw down rope ladder for people to come up to his little tower?
With your new toolkit, yeah.
There's a
Easy
kitchen
I
here,
would-
right?
I would allow Amric to come up there with me.
Yeah, there's like a kitchen and storeroom entire area. Pretty much that room you guys went into where the chest was there, and you guys saw the footprints get blasted away from that one chest. That's all storerooms and kitchenware.
What would be
Right.
a cooking check? Survival.
Oh no, we've established you're bad at cooking.
Why
I don't
does
want
this
to get better at
immediately take me back to Barrack cooking?
It was Elia. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it takes me back to Elia. Who's gonna die?
I did not murder that guard. Okay.
Someone
Yeah.
cooked literally so bad that they killed a guard when they were taste testing. Luckily, Illinade was there to bring them back to death before they hit the ground. But that's what you get
Oh.
for trying to use meat from a very poisonous creature.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how are we supposed to know it had poison in it?
I
And
warned you.
that was literally his thing, wasn't it? That he was a cook.
Yeah.
That was one of his
He cooks
things.
utensils and everything. But yeah, so pretty much the only person here who has the correct stuff to do a decent meal is Racha now, because his all-purpose toolkit can turn into cook's utensils.
Is that something that Amric would be able to assist with? I
Yeah.
assume being on his own, he probably learned to cook fairly well.
Yeah, between
Yeah,
Nori
that
and,
was the same. Yeah.
yeah, between Nori and Amric and the plants that you guys have available in the little garden as well as the mountainside, Racha could whip up some interesting sort of stew. No check necessary because you've got two very nature-prone people helping with it.
No poisonous mushrooms thrown in on accident. Awesome.
Yeah, there's about to be one there, and then Nori just grabs it and chucks it out the window, just like, never again!
To be fair, my nature is actually really high too, so I would probably recognize it.
My nature is actually really low.
I only have a +4.
Wow, I have a +10. What's wrong with you guys?
This
You have a higher intelligence and expertise, sir.
Yeah, it's an intelligence check.
Either way, you guys sit down for a nice vegetarian dinner. And enjoying your meals in the large tables, overtly large for what you guys are doing. Pretty much everyone's got their own table. Like, that's how big of a seating arrangement you guys have for dinner. It's about towards the tail end of it, though, that you guys hear a on the front door.
I would go to answer it.
Nope.
Nope,
Emmerich
Bryn's
is-
going to answer.
Bryn
There's
or
that-
Emmerich.
There's that split second where everyone looks at each other, and then everyone looks at Kaporin, who's like half out of his seat already, and there's just a mad dash. I want everyone to make acrobatics checks.
Can I, since it's my castle?
Rolled a 19.
I only got an 11.
Good luck passing 30, buddy.
Oh, Kaporin dimension doors.
I dimension door after him and tackle him to the ground.
What's your dex? What would you roll for dex then, Nori?
I got an 11, never mind.
Roll a dex, Kaporin.
Dex, okay. 9.
Okay, so Kaporin, you get up and you see everyone starting to run towards you and at you. Racha's already doing pirouettes in the air over the tables.
Panic.
And you and dimension door, and then all of a sudden, as you're in front of the door, you hear a ah! As Nori comes slamming into you, tackling you to the ground. Which it doesn't really tackle you to the ground. She more like wraps around your midsection and pushes you over 15 feet. But it's enough time for Racha, who's a fast mofo, to get there. Within 10 seconds, he's like sliding across. We got to get Racha socks so he can just Blues Brothers it. As he ends up like running so fast that he slides the last 50 feet across the marble floor. So
Nori, get off!
Or it just goes like very seriously, no.
I will immediately like prop myself up and get all like butler-esque as much as I can and answer the door and go, "Good evening.
And let this be the time where none of you understand the language and Gaporan with tongues actually need to be there to answer the door. Oh,
Oh,
we need a
no.
hat.
Oh no, is
We
he
need-
finding the hat? Oh no.
This is fucking pawn.
What's your bet? It's pawn.
I hope so.
Oh lord.
That is Barnabas, and my dog is attacking me now.
What?
Watch, it's a hellhound.
Where is Retro? That's a dog now.
You guys got a
Found
dog?
the other day. That's why I wasn't here Monday.
Oh.
He's looking for the hat.
Is it really pawn at the door?
So, standing at the door, sort of leaning against the pillar outside of it, a nice pinstripe suit adorned, kind of with his tail in his hand, kind of spinning it. Hello.
Hello, Barn.
You are an interesting one to track down.
Interesting things have happened in the last few days.
Nice digs. A bit of an upgrade for you all.
Yes,
As Kaporan, you're wrangled by Nori right now. You're kind of like sticking your head over.
Yeah, Nori will stand up. Just look at this man, just like, fucking damn it.
Emmerich, who would have been second to the door, goes, "Hello?"
Hello. You seem to be new.
I go by Emmerich.
he's fresh off the boat. If you know.
Barnabas. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. He extends his hand out towards you.
Yeah, Emmerich doesn't know. He doesn't have the best readings on this guy. Well, everyone else told me, so he's probably just gonna let it sit there.
Brandon,
You're
get
not
in
shaking his
last.
hand?
Would
Uh,
aim?
Everything Emmerich has heard about him is like really bad.
He's just extending his
yeah,
hand
that's
to
true.
shake. Well, all right then. I see where I stand.
Brandon
He
coming
puts it
in
back
late
in
to
his
the
pocket.
party with her 7 acrobatics.
There's my
come on
girl.
in, Barnabas. Or invite him in.
Thank you,
'cause,
thank you.
know.
Is he? Ezra Shaw probably does this sort of like gracious bow to kind of let him in, and then slams the door behind him. Kind of like looks around. Not bad, not bad. Now, I hate to get directly down to business, but you all have been hard to find. And a birdie told me that you had found the item which I had sent out for you all. And then you guys disappeared for a bit, leaving one of my associates, well, for lack of better words, standing there with something in their hand. Don't want to get too graphic for the ladies. But I am hoping that it is still in y'all's possession and I can go ahead and take it for myself.
Nori will just kind of nod. Who has it?
Yeah, sorry to leave your other associates empty-handed. Wasn't sure how much we could trust him. I hope
Varad
you can
is a
understand
bit headstrong. So it's understandable that upon first meeting him, might not be the most loving of characters, unlike myself, of course. But I'm just glad that you've kept it safe, and it's properly coming across to me now. And he's still kind of just looking across everybody.
Or it's just like, I don't have it.
I believe Rachel has it. He's dealing with the.
Oh, my bird friend, yes. He
Yeah,
kind of like
sorry.
looks at Rachar. You guys have been up to stuff.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, I sensed it the first time when I saw you guys last, but that's really set in, hasn't it?
Warren looked over confused. It's like, what's that? What?
Because he did see you guys directly after you guys were dealing with Qatar.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they say that the torture ends up not being too painful after at least a couple centuries.
Yes. Right. Warren putting two and two together. It's like, oh, that's what he's mentioning.
Nor just thinking like, there's no way I live that long. Just absolutely no way. With everything that's happened to me, no way I live that long.
Sorry, Rachel will be right back.
Rachel, this interesting that you're doing is very... Though it gives a nice breeze. I'm unfortunate I don't understand that language.
Interesting bird. Very big ones.
Wow.
Where did you hear that sound before? I don't understand.
Sorry, that's probably the windmills of the Cowan clan lands. They can get quite noisy. Oh, it's fine. It seems he's snapped out of it now. That little rotating thing that you were doing left to right, though. Nice touch. So, Rachar, you're the one that has my package. Very keen to find out what this is. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but she had told me it's unlike anything else I had seen before.
He'll go, quite, and pull out the tools.
Looks down at it and gives you a smile. That's a nice set you've got there.
The thing we got on the island, Rachel.
It comes in a certain box.
He put him back, and then, yeah, I mean, it's lashed to his back still, so it's not like he's hiding it.
You didn't put it down in your bedroom at all or anything? Well, your bedroom's on top of the castle, so maybe not.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to, for sure.
Okay. So you hand it over?
I feel like I have no choice, because Nori sold me out.
She's been selling out a lot of people lately.
This guy has been. She doesn't want to die. This we're in a bad spot, and she's like, you know what? Just give the man what he wants. Leave.
Okay, so he takes the box and kind of like looks around for just a small table. There's one sort of off to the side that you guys removed one of the heavy crossbows from. He kind of goes over and puts the box down and opens it up. You guys had put the black crystal back in it, right? Because I know for a while it was Bryn's backpack.
Oh, yeah, Bryn put it back in the box, and then it's been lashed to my back since. And yeah, Rachel would say, like, be careful.
Oh, I intend to. And he kind of pulls up the sleeves a little bit and kind of runs his finger across. There's an interesting, like, red bit of light that seems to emanate somewhere from his face, but he's got his back to most of you all. But the light kind of, like, washes across the box for a moment. And you see different parts of the box that had been pretty much indistinguishable now kind of light up with a red light. Just looks like different runes. And then the light goes away, and he opens it up and pulls the cloth back from the black crystal. He kind of grabs it with both hands and lifts it up. And you immediately start to hear as steam starts to come from both of his hands as he's holding it. Bits of what look to be like skin starts dripping and hitting the box underneath. But he seems to not be noticing it. He kind of looks at it, turns it around, and you can tell he's like intensely thinking. And at one point he is holding it up at head height and just lets go of it. And it hovers there in midair. He starts to reach for something in his pocket before the black crystal fucking books it across the room, going down the hallway towards where your guys' eating arrangement was. And he pulls out a small satchel from behind him before he kind of... He's like visually following the crystal, but then he slams this little satchel and a cloud of dust envelops around him, and then he disappears. And he reappears in front of the black crystal down the hallway. It's his little mobile dimension door. And the black crystal just impacts him as he's got his hands up and he catches it. And he's holding it there. And he kind of like forces it. It's almost like there's a force pushing it, like it's propelling it. And then after some strength, he pushes it out of its trajectory. And it kind of stops. And he can just hold it like regular now. And he quickly walks back to you guys, back to the box, slams it in there and slams the box closed. Runs his finger around it, and you guys see the box transform from this wooden lead-lined creation to straight stone. And it just encapsulates the entirety of everything. He does an interesting motion with his hands, separates them, and what looks to be like this black fabric extends between both of his hands, almost like a magician's. And he kind of takes the fabric and wraps it around the stone box before snapping his fingers. And just like the like a magician's handkerchief down the sleeve thing, the fabric kind of sucks into his arm, and the box is gone. All right.
What was that?
I have
Any idea?
theories. I have theories. But I believe we're all due for a trip.
Trip?
Yes, there's a few other people that need to be consulted with, and your guys' interaction with this object requires a little face-to-face time. So,
Well, where are we?
we're going home. And if you don't, make sure you've got your things.
Horn runs upstairs to go grab Belladol off the bed and comes back holding it. It's like, ready.
Amric gets all his things, and when he gets back to the party, he kind of gives a sigh and probably mutters something along the lines of, "This is more new people than he's had to deal with in a while."
Nori will go get her things, just like, I don't want to go back, really. I don't really want to. I don't want to see people either.
I'm assuming Bryn's gonna go up with Nori and just, as she's muttering that, she's gonna be like, "We need to go back. You'll be fine."
Yeah, we're going back. You need to get home, but it doesn't mean I want
What's
to.
the problem? We fixed
Someone
the
have
problem of where do we go?
While I was gone, did we clarify with Barnabas that of why we didn't deliver it to him or go with the guy to him, or no?
He
just knows.
from the way he was talking, you get a sense that he kind of knows what happened. Probably because Varad said, "Hey, these people have your thing and they didn't give it to me." He probably went there, found Pawn, got some information, and was just waiting for you guys to come back.
Oh God, is Pawn okay?
That'll be fine.
Warren is not willing to call Pawn.
Maybe not.
Rashi, as everyone like runs off to go get their stuff, Rashi kind of like tightens her backpack a little bit and just keeps holding her shield and mace because she doesn't take that shit off. Being in a place she doesn't trust. Ready.
Warren just like nudges Rush. It's like, don't think about it yet.
Don't bug me. It's taking me everything not to hit this guy. No, it's not a smart idea, but I still really want to hit him.
Warren will stand in front of Rashi. Just,
I'll hit you if I have to as well.
I know you will, but you also end up healing me afterwards, so that's all right.
I might delegate that to Nori.
Presumptuous.
Well, one of you are gonna heal me, one way or another, so we'll be okay with this.
From the distance. No guarantees.
And Charles gonna like point at Barnabas. You?
I'm ready.
Shakes his head no. Heal. And points at Kavarin.
Not my specialty. As he kind of like twiddles his fingers and icicles kind of spread out into the air before they like quickly melt and just turn into mist.
Ooh, fascinating.
What's up with him and air particles?
He's an airbender.
I'm sorry, my sentiments aren't the same.
Well, we're all good at our own things. So, is everyone ready? I
Hey,
need,
Captain.
need you all to grab hands.
All right.
Who's
Ooh,
gonna
I know this one in Rashi's voice.
Who's gonna extend their hand out to Barnabas?
Warren, obviously.
Machal will take Barnabas's other one. Because I assume we have to do a circle.
As the first person to actually touch Barnabas, because no one has done so since then, cold is all you feel. Whereas you would expect some sort of warmth from, just touching. It just feels cold and slate. Almost like touching stone.
You're very cool, Barnabas.
You're not touching me, so how would you know this?
Wait, oh, okay, never mind. I
Yeah,
understand.
Bryn and Rachaw said they reached out. All right, and with a twisting motion and colors and everything kind of just merging into one another, you guys feel like you're ripped from the navel and spun in circles until all of a sudden, solid ground beneath your feet. You're in a dark room. Very slightly lit. Almost teal-like colors coming from two sconces at far ends of the room, but they're just giving off a very dim sort of light. There's a large table with chairs directly next to you. Bryn, you recognize this room. This is the room that you and Arx went into. Standing there in front of you all is no longer Barnabas. Valek stands there. As coming into this room dispels all versions and forms of disguise. Well, I'm glad we're back. And he kind
Nori
of reaches, he goes over to the
Takes
table.
a step back.
He goes over to the table and pushes a button underneath as the doors near each of the sconces open up. All right, please, all of you stay here. I'm going to fetch the commander and a couple other individuals. He's got the clothes of Barnabas in one hand and his long black tunic and pants with his diamonds on it as he's walking out. And you see two guards kind of enter and just stay in the room, but they're not, like, being untoward towards you guys. They're just kind of standing there, letting you guys know that you're not alone. But they're only at one of the doors. The other door is completely wide open, so if you guys wanted to run for it, you could. But as you guys kind of stand there and just all kind of put things together slowly but surely, you guys have a few moments for a conversation if you want.
No, look, Warren looks straight over to Nori. It's like, what?
Do I have to call you Dad now to Nori?
I don't know.
Wait, so
Rashi, exactly what you're thinking is what's going on right now.
So
Does that mean he's not an evil asshole?
I don't know.
Bryn's just nodding along with
she's just pointing
Rashi.
at Comparing and pointing at Nori and pointing at herself, like, is it fucking weird that all the half-elves might be related?
Yeah, it's a little weird, Rashi. Yeah, it's a little weird.
What?
Bryn's just like gonna be more pale than Charity freaking is.
And that's when
she's
Rashi,
like,
Nori just looks at.
Rashi
Nori
just shakes
looks
her
at-
head. Rashi just shakes his head, takes a chair, puts it out, sits down, and goes, "Nope."
Amric is just confused.
I'm turning my brain off, guys.
Amric, put it in context. The tiefling is their father. That man is mine.
Amric still looks confused.
Exactly.
Don't worry, we are too.
Whispers in his ear, people having sex back in the day.
Amric puts a hand on like Richard's forehead and kind of just pushes him away.
So we're related, Nori?
I mean, you were already my unofficial brother anyway. It doesn't change very much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate hearing that for the first time in like forever. Yes. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. He's not supposed to know I exist.
We all sit and wait for him to return in total confusion and unless Amric has something to say.
Bryn's not confused. Bryn's just nope.
No,
Sitting with Rashi?
Yep, for a completely different reason though.
Before we continue, I'm just gonna put it out there that I feel validated because I had a theory like this forever ago, and
What was
everyone
it?
thought
You did. I will back you up on
I
that.
had an idea that that Barnabas was just like a spy, and that I thought it was Ilinade. I thought Ilinade was undercover as Barnabas, and I guess if that is the true Barnabas, then I'm not that far off. It was on the same branch.
Barnabas has had so many names. He could just be pretending to be a different Barnabas. Who knows?
Yeah. Nori goes and sits down Nori sits down next to Bryn, just making just this face.
Orin is rocking back and forth with Belladonna tightly, and he's just like, nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing makes sense anymore.
I shouldn't be surprised by this shit anymore. I really shouldn't.
No, but you got us good on that one, Val. Are you
Yeah,
proud of
yeah,
yourself?
no kidding.
So clap, bravo, sir, bravo.
It's been a
There's
while coming.
there's pure validation over here.
I'm just sitting here like, this is a lot. This is a lot. Hey, I have more siblings. Wait. Technically, Oryx is their brother too.
Nah, because Oryx
Oh,
is
yeah, half.
with your
Right.
not dad.
So, steps.
Half brother.
I guess yeah, half brother because their mothers are related.
Yeah, our mothers are related.
Quarter sibling, kind of.
Something like that. We don't share any genetic material, but yeah, apparently we're siblings. Interesting.
So, see, that would have been a great time to like. All right, we'll come back after the break. After a few moments of the mind explosions happening all around, to the point where some have gone a bit chaotic and are loony bin rocking in a corner. Others have just completely checked out, like Rashi, and the rest of you guys are trying to make some sort of sense of what the fuck's going on.
I was just chilling. He's like, all right, that's cool.
A few moments later, Valik does make his way back. He has the commander in tow, about 5 guards, Yelena, the second in charge of the League of Assassins, and Valik's wife, which he would introduce everyone to you guys and vice versa as they come in. You guys have 3 generals with you.
I would go up to Valik's wife and go, Loki.
Floki to you too.
He'll back off. He'll be like, he'll nod.
Just thinking like this man has
It's
a
like,
wife.
is this Bryn's mom?
Yep, she when she walks in, she's got a tight brown braid that kind of cuts around and over the shoulder. She's built like Bryn. You're a Valkyrie. You're decently well built as far as female forces go, but she's not like muscle man workout. But she is like cut. Like she's wearing a skin tight black suit underneath her already black tunic and short and pants. And even there, you can see the ridges of her muscles, and she looks like a bad bitch. With her, though, like I said, you got 3 generals.
Would Amric know enough about Ixian military structure to know like the proper way to greet, or like greet the generals? I guess.
If anything, Bryn would start doing the salute before, and if you wanted to pick up and kind of emulate, then you could.
Nori just has her arms folded across her chest, just bugging herself, just like, this isn't okay.
But the 3 generals are, and you, like I said, Valik is going to be telling you guys who's who and what's what. You've got General Kit Viven of District 1. Kitvivan. General Tesso of District 4, Tesso. And Interim General Chefrin from District 7. since General Rasmussen is still at large. This is the major that got promoted from District 7.
So he's the same guy that Bryn was doing triage with.
Yes. Behind them is the guards. Behind them, you see Kazariak walking in. And from the doorway and into the room, you see his chest, the purple crystal inside of his chest. Outside, it's just the crystal, but as soon as he makes his way into the room, you see as what looks to be like long tendril-like veins going out from the crystal itself, just going into different parts of his body, out of his chest, almost looking like either purple blood supply going in or some sort of alien creature coming out and symbioting with his body. You don't see that normally, but being in this room, you can.
Did I get there's a piece nearby, little ping, or
As
no?
soon as he walked into the room, yes. Because while he's outside of the room, everything's blocked. In or out.
Nori will kind of look at Kazariak, just like,
And
okay.
As you look at Kazariak, you see a familiar face behind him. Blonde hair, scars across the face of Oryx. Kazariak, though he is not wearing a typical black tunic, he is wearing black pants of the Ixian military. And along it, you see, right where the pockets are, anchors over each pocket. And the anchors themselves are the color of orange.
Pretty cool.
And though Valek is introducing everybody, even though you guys know him, he says that this is Admiral Kazariak of District 8's Navy. And Liaison Arx. Though I don't think he really needs an introduction to you all. And at that, Arx kind of looks at Valek, and Valek nods, and Arx kind of just walks over to you, Nori, just gives you a noogie, and pulls you in for a hug.
Yeah, Nori will hug him. They'll look annoyed and then hug him.
Arx kind of just gives you a look over to you, Bryn, gives you a nod, and just kind of lets his eyes graze across the rest of the group.
Warren is still in the corner, not fully giving anything I can guess right now.
After Valek's done introducing everyone and the doors get closed, General Kidvivin comes holding the stone-encased box that Valek/Barnabas had dimensioned away. And as he does so, Arx lets go of you, Nori, and kind of goes over to the box, waves his hand over it, and the stone starts to crumble into dust around the box. He lifts the cover off and kind of just starts doing hand symbols and kind of just checking this thing out. Valek, everyone's kind of tensely quiet, and Valek kind of walks over to Arx as they kind of murmur between each other. And they're both kind of nodding and shaking and nodding. And Arx kind of steps back and looks over at the commander. I believe it's safe at least to be around. It's not going to possibly, lack of better words, fuck anything up. And Valek kind of nods in agreement towards the commander, and the commander walks over to it, hands behind his back.
Cal just goes, just give him the tip.
Commander doesn't seem to listen. And kind of looks over it. And you're saying that even you will not be able to handle it for too long? Correct, sir. Not exactly sure how powerful it is, but it tends to burn with touch, even with my abilities.
And whatever you do, do not cast detect magic on it.
RX kind of like looks over at you wide-eyed for a moment, like shh. As he kind of like does the quick hand motions in front of you, showing that he just did cast detect magic on it. But luckily in this room, it doesn't have as high of an impact as it did when you guys were out there.
I'm kind of surprised Bryn hasn't punched Rashawn, at least for making the comment.
Just the tip.
She was probably visibly like, oh god. But you were too far, I'm assuming.
The commander kind of just looks over the crystal for a moment, reaches out, doesn't touch it, kind of just runs the hands just over the very surface of it, sort of just feeling the energy that's coming off of it. All right, and this basically confirms what sightings have been reported over in District 4. Yes, sir. Also with certain scouts down in Cydia, reminiscent of what happened to the harbor. All right. You know what this means? It is confirmed. We have a much bigger enemy to deal with. Generals, you know what to do. Inform your troops. Get them ready. Excavations will begin in a week. Supplies and extra reinforcement troops will be going. Kazariak. Yes, sir. Make sure we have our trawling boats ready. We need them scouring every inch off the coast. If what it seems like is coming to pass, we are looking at a god-level event happening soon, and we need to prepare. Kazariak kind of nods, and before stepping out with some of the generals, kind of just looks over at you guys and you, Nori, and kind of just gives you a bit of a side smile and a nod before heading out.
Does Kazariak note the moved necklace?
Yes, you can tell with your passive perception that he wasn't looking directly at you. He was looking at the armband. But he can sense that it's bigger than the last time. So that leaves Arx, Valik, the commander, and some guards. Yelena has gone with General Kidvivit. He would have gone with Kidvivit. As the commander kind of slides the top of the box back on and looks over at you all. I appreciate you bringing this item to our attention. Though I understand its initial appropriation was a bit... You gotta understand how these secret ones like to keep things secret, as he kind of nods towards Valik. But we could use your help. We're going to need all the help we can get in the near future. So, Valik has details in case you feel up for the challenge. Though I doubt I'll be seeing you guys individually again. I do hope to see you again at some point. And with that, he kind of just spins on his heel and starts to walk out, followed by the rest of the guards.
Bye.
Is that the commander or Valik?
Commander.
Bye.
So you got Valik and Arx still in this room.
He didn't respond to my goodbye. I love you. Oh.
No.
I was a little hurt, but he
I would,
understands.
Amric would, as soon as the commander's gone, Amric would like to approach Valik.
Yeah, they're much more relaxed as soon as the commander leaves.
point goes over to Arik and is like, I have so many questions. He's like, has he been Barnabas this whole time?
I feel like that's more of a question for him. Don't you agree?
He's like, I trust you more right now than anything.
I don't know exactly when you met him. Valek's kind of just staring like daggers into the side of your head, Kaborin, as you're just talking to Arix.
Kaborin
Aaron.
doesn't know what. No, that's fine.
Sorry for duping you all for this time. Bryn. And he kind of like gestures for you to come forward.
Yeah, she'll do that.
He kind of extends his hand out for a handshake.
Okay.
You handshake? Okay. So as you grab his hand, he kind of like yanks you forward and slides his arm up into your armor, up your left shoulder and over that spot in your chest. And as he wipes away, that symbol is gone. You feel the cool release of that seal.
Bryn is free.
What Amric wanted to say when he originally approached Valek after the commander left was he would have gone up to Valek and said, I would like to apologize from what I had heard about your Barnabas persona. It painted you in a rather negative light.
It's quite alright. Barnabas is a bit of an unsightly character, but is a necessary one. Not technically my persona. I've just taken his identity.
Understood, but I'd like to make up for earlier, and I'll stick my hand out, and I'll for a handshake, and I'll say, Amric Wundai Duliano.
You can call me Valek. And he shakes your hand. This too is a cold handshake.
Well, after that, he'll stand by the group some more.
Nori just, again, arms across her chest, looking just...
I'm sure you all have questions, but let's put them all one at a time, and I'll answer what I can.
All three of us are related. Escapon points to Nori, himself, and Rashi.
Does Valek doesn't even know about Nori, does he?
Doesn't know about me.
This might be the first time he's hearing something like that. That's fun.
Well, Arix knew, so...
Would it... He kind of like looks from Arix, and Arix kind of is just giving a blank expression back. I'm not sure who your mothers were. Do you all have did one of you all get around? I don't understand why you all would be related.
Nori kind of looks at Arix and just look that says, almost like, are we thinking of the same thing? I don't know. Do y'all have that with siblings? I have that. We can just look at each other. And
I believe she's trying to get across that if you are Barnabas, well, Nori here, and I don't have your mother's name up right now.
Alionwin.
Our mother is Alionwin. And you see a bit of recognition in Valek's eyes.
Hi. She told me to tell you that she made a mistake all those years ago.
And he kind of, like, he was about to be warm towards you. And then you said that, and he's like, what was the mistake?
Nori points to herself.
Kind of, like, leans over to get, like, face-to-face with you. Don't ever consider yourself a mistake.
He's already a better dad with just that one line.
He really is. He's miles ahead of Zelek at the moment.
He kind of like leans back, and Arix's face is a bit downtrodden because there's more information he knows that Valek doesn't know yet. And let me insight RX. Yeah, Valek's insight is pretty good. It's a natural 19 plus 15.
That insight, amazing.
He kind of looks back and looks to you, Nori, and just like slowly puts an arm on a shoulder, like not trying to do anything quick, fast. Everything's very tentative and new. I'm sorry. There's a lot of explaining, and he kind of like immediately takes a headache. He kind of points to you and Rashi Kaporin. No.
Yeah.
Not your father's. I've only been Barnabas for a couple of years now. Actual Barnabas resides in our cells. But to just let him disappear would create too much of a power void, and, well, I don't trust many people.
Which visibly relaxes at that because he was very rigid prior to that.
So, yes, you are not all related. I'm sorry?
We're a family nonetheless here, but
Yes, the one you choose is usually the better one, so it's understandable.
yeah.
But, unfortunately, I cannot allow you to see him. But we need to kill him. And he kind of looks at Rashi like,
Yeah, but that was Rachad just sort of nods vigorously because that was what he was rigid about. It was like, oh shit, are we gonna have to kill Valak?
Don't kill my dad. He's already a better dad than Zealing ever was. Granted, the bar is on the floor, but still.
it's underneath. I cannot let that happen either. Barnabas, as a whole, has a bit of a connection to certain things and contracts and other things that have been created that, with him alive, I'm able to track and transfer. But if he were to die, not only would those fade into the wind, but also many people would then know he is dead. And that would kind of, well, the whole persona thing give way. So I'm not sure why you need to kill him. My god said so. Right. He's
I
looking
was
for
about
help.
to say, I get my divine intervention from God.
We'll go ahead and table that one and come back to it at a later time.
Congratulations, Nori, I guess.
Oh, Oryx, I remembered something. We recently went into the dream plane, which is why we're a little older. And
You look the same to me, sister.
Which does his fake old fogey crouch and heel.
Valek kind of just looks at you and goes, is that supposed to be a skeleton?
Yes, it is.
Not too bad.
And Nori goes, and I Dreamer wasn't thrilled with us being there, but long story short, I got back a memory that Zelik wiped from my mind. He cast a spell on me, and I don't know what it was, but it was some sort of tracking thing. And then he threatened to kill me if I ever came back, which he erased. I wouldn't have come back if that were the case. I'm an idiot, not a fool.
Potato, potato.
Yeah, I remember. After that had all happened, and Zelik, I don't consider him my dad either. I followed, and I saw him toss you out there. But before I could get out to you, he saw me, and I have many scars from that day.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not your fault.
Well, I can still feel bad about it.
Yeah, but why feel bad about something from years ago? And now he kind of like looks at you. Add 4 years on top of that?
2, you jerk.
Oh well.
Perks up at the memory of this and goes, "People having sex back in the day?" And, like, points towards himself.
What?
How are the Kenkus?
No, he's basically saying that's what he whispered to Arix when he was a child in the dream world. He's trying to see if Arix remembers him saying that to him in the dream.
It's almost like he's lost in thought for a moment, but kind of shakes it off as the conversation continues on. Well, Arx, is there anything that you can do about her situation? I mean, I can try, but Zelik is powerful. Even back then, he was an asshole, but he was a powerful asshole.
Worst kind.
Do you know exactly where?
Nori will point to her chest. And does magic work? Yeah, magic works in here. I saw the symbol, right?
It was more of just a glow of light. Like, you saw a rough shape of it, but since it was scarring your actual ribs, that's where everything was really at.
Yeah, Nori will be like, I think it's on the bone itself.
As like Arx is about to do something, he kind of like pulls his hand back and goes, that's blood magic. I do not have anything to undo that."
Great.
You
Great,
know,
love that.
The only thing I know to get rid of that, and he kind of like is like looking to Valak for affirmation, is to kill the one that did it, right? Something of that level. And Valak kind of just slowly nods. And it's not like your father has been relaxing since your last interactions. And he turns to you, Nori, and goes, "I'm pretty sure you are aware, but he's taken the Master Magician seat at the Citadel."
I am aware of that.
So not only is this now an personal problem, but a political one as well. I'm a bit lost for possibly what I can do, specifically since relations between Ixian and Citia are on the up, and the commander does not want to stress that tenuous alliance just yet. I mean, if he was just a random high elf of some sort of stature, I could have taken care of things, but... I mean, I was sent there to do it once. I can follow through this time.
Oh well.
He doesn't even look in your direction, he just pats the top of your head.
Tall is he?
Valik, he's roughly 6'3".
He's a little shorter than Kaporan, but nonetheless.
Although I am curious, if you are my father, I look wildly different from you.
Yes, And Arx kind of like nods and is looking at him for some sort of informational point to this. And Valik kind of just shuts down verbally. He's not like retreating or retiring or like backing away. He's just digging for the words internally. Unfortunately, that's classified.
We can't talk about it, and she's looking at the rest of the group.
I honestly thought that you all would have found me out when I met you all on the beach. And the magic wasn't working quite correctly around me. That's a thing very specific to myself.
Interesting.
I was like, Warren?
We've seen weirder things lately. You weren't that high on the list.
Oh, I guess I was doing my job correctly then. And you all need to check out your enemies a little bit further then. As Kaporan, you feel a tapping on your shoulder. And a second Valik is just standing there behind you.
Or like spins around and falls backwards.
He grabs you, and you fall through the floor. Almost that sinking feeling. And you're just falling. And what just looks like floor after floor after floor, you just... as if you're in an elevator that's just free falling. Just... and so all of a sudden, you're standing there again, and you start to rock, and go ahead and roll con save for me.
Can we like notice that this is happening or anything? Or?
I imagine we just
You throw
were
up.
we were the third person watching a portal gun falling through over and over again.
You, Kaporan, you kind of stand there for a moment, and Vela just steps to the side, and you just let loose on the floor.
Nori just kind of pinches the bridge of her nose.
You guys all of a sudden just saw Kaporan vomit. He didn't go anywhere. None of y'all saw anything. I checked your con save, and it's not high enough to beat what he did to you, so...
What?
Anyway. As Arx kind of starts prestidigitating the throw up away.
Warren heads over to Brain. It's like, help.
Don't throw up on me again.
Leave her alone, Kaparan. She's enough to deal with.
What?
So you will have the option whether or not you want to help out in this current endeavor. This piece that you guys had brought to me is part of a larger plan. It is just a small shard of a larger creature. We're not entirely sure who exactly it is, but we believe it is a god coming back together.
A god coming back together.
From the last war, we thought might have been scattered after being defeated, but we believe they're slowly starting to... Someone's found enough pieces for it to become semi-sentient, and it is trying to reform itself whenever a piece is excavated to the wind.
Do you believe we'll have to fight it again?
We did not fight anything of that caliber during the last God War. That was strictly collateral damage. A few champions regarded from some gods to battle other smaller titans and demis, but nowhere near the ability to fight a creature of that magnitude and power. The problem with this specifically is that when the gods fought last during the planar division, they all went to their own planes. Yes, we have a few gods here that call the prime material plane their vacation spot, if you will, but none of them reside here. They're all on the different planes, just overseeing the prime. That was their agreement, that the prime would be the area they could all have influence in, but not ultimately reside in or interfere too heavily. If this body of a god was not actually destroyed, then there will be no god here to fight it. We have already done some questioning, gone places where we know gods had fallen in the past. We went down to the Durgar and Cydia. Mithranim is not in any shape to wholly allow aid. We went down to the Cowan lands.
Racha will actually perk up at that. Mithranim. And he'll start digging around in his backpack, and he'll pull out that book that has all those different gods' writings in it that Valar helped unlock.
Valek starts to look at it and reads some of the pages quickly before handing it off to Arix. It seems to be in more your realm of expertise. And Arix kind of like takes the book and just immediately ghosts everybody. And Wizard with a spell book turns around and just sits at the table.
Nori is very used to this.
Racha will completely ignore the rest of this conversation and sit there looking and watching Arx do his thing.
We went under the Cowan lands and checked on the body of Gishmanel. He is not coming back and is not part of this process, so that's not a problem. Headed out to a few different other countries, finding different impact points and battle locations from past god fights, but could not find which god this is. So, every piece that we can possibly get our hands on, we put no small effort in obtaining. So, I mean, he turns towards you, Bryn. Technically, you are still engaged in the military, so if I really wanted to, I could give you orders to search this out. But you currently are still in pursuit of another portion of duty. How is that one going?
I do have a little bit more information.
Well, feel free to share.
Right there. Gotta find that page. Gotta remember what the hell I told them before. Okay.
remember correctly, it's basically anything up to the point of.
No, yeah. So I know it's the information that we got from the point of. Oh, God damn it! What's the word? I don't know. When we were in the Bloodgood lands or whatever. That. What was it called? The peninsula.
Marshes.
The point of the peninsula or whatever. The port. So from
So
there.
far, great information. I love it.
God, shut up. That was Becca. Fuck off, Val. Not Valek. Just clarifying that.
Leans over to Nori. Your girlfriend's a bit of a high-strung one.
Wait, who says that to me?
Valek.
Such an ass.
How did he know?
Arx.
Of course.
Damn it, Rx.
So she'd tell him about the ship that she was told about, that they go in about every 3 months to offload and get things. They stay there for about a week. It sounds like they have 5 islands that they go between. However, you need the planar ship to get to them. They only come into view in our plane, I guess, a few times a day, and each time they're different. Each day it's different as where as well.
All right. Well, since y'all's little escapade down in Sitia, as you can see, we now have a navy, thanks to Kazariak and a few defectors. With our
Did you get 3 ships from that?
we got 3. We've created another 7.
Just trying to see if that was the 3 Elven Armada ships that had cut and run.
Mm-hmm. So, with Arx's help and Kazariak's expertise, we've been able to put together a plane rider ship.
Impressive.
Well, once we are able to disassemble magically the elven ships, we were able to put more back together with enough manpower. But it is our only one. And the only one that can handle her is Kazariak himself. It takes a tremendously magical person to be able to just handle the ship itself. So, luckily we're currently not at war, though the Elven Alliance is very soft because of this defection. We have a second plane rider ship that is in production. Orcs is the one mainly heading that one up, as well with Dylanar and Theobert. So they can handle it, but you must know that Kazariak and that ship going down there, though you have a nice pretty bounty on your head. You could see the letter D was like right about to go off his lip, and he like pulls it back and goes, though you have a high bounty on your head, Nori, Kazariak is got even a higher one. So if you guys go down there, you expect trouble. Luckily, a plane rider ship will be able to get its way around a little bit easier.
Nori thinks back to the ship she sank.
So
Wow.
it can be put out on loan for you all if you guys can, especially if you can get General Rasmussen back quicker. But know that if this ship is going with you, it is not a fact-finding mission anymore. This is a rescue operation. So the reward will go higher for those that aren't in the military. But the danger also increases. This will technically be considered a military operation now. But of the most clandestine, and if you all get caught, you are not connected to us. You will be flying no flag, no colors on uniforms. This is strictly off the books.
Sounds acceptable to me.
Like, nothing different from what we're doing now.
I want to help in any way I can.
Okay. I'll make it happen. Meet Kazariak. Kind of looks across the group. I feel like you all need drinks. For some reason, you all look it. So have him meet you at the tavern.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, Emmerich smiles just a little bit on the mention of drinks.
The point is, before we leave them or we go anywhere else, like, just for reference, is there any magic circles here in Ixia?
You mean teleportation circles?
Yes. It'd be nice just in case we do have to get out of there quickly.
He looks at you. Yes, there are. And then he puts one hand up. I gotta hold the spacebar down. He puts one hand up and then goes, pay grade. Up here, you down here.
Yeah, I
Understand.
wouldn't expect us to be able to access a teleportation circle in a country that's not super.
Not really just that,
Magic?
but you also gotta understand what's mission I'm sending you on right now, and if you have a immediate get home card and you get captured, interrogated, tortured, and that information gets pulled from you, well,
That would be less than ideal.
just a little bit.
Then can you do the opposite? And like, do you know where this one is?
I'd have to go
I
through
think
it.
that's in.
Just don't know where these things are. That's more of an RX question.
And Nora's about to say it's like after he's done with his book, you can ask him.
Which, Richard,
again.
you've just seen RX just writing furiously, copying stuff from that book.
Yeah, he's kind of like, what's it about? Like, not actually expecting an answer.
Magic.
Real quick, Amrich's tribe, do they go by Wundai or Uliano?
Uliano is your Ixian name. So Wundai is what you would go between other settlements, other tribes, and Iliano is your. Just like people from Asian descent, when they come over, they usually have like their original name and then they have their American name or their English name. It's kind of the same thing.
So if I were to ask Valik for information on the tribe, I'd ask for Uliano.
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, he'd go to Valik and say, I'd like to ask something that probably will be in our pay grade. I'm sure Ixia keeps reports, but my tribe did. In Uliano, do you happen to know where I could find out how they're doing?
It's definitely pay grade-esque. Just not information I keep off the top of my head. Give me a moment. And he does symbols, and that black fabric opens up once again, and he kind of reaches in and pulls out a scroll. Integrated into District 3. Along with the Iron Eyes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anything else?
Need to ask RX questions. I think that's
Captain-
all I have.
Captain Floki, not too long ago, had a vision. I don't know what it was. I think it was him being tortured somewhere. I didn't get a lot of information from it.
Captain Floki, oh, yes. And he kind of like reaches into his dimension space and pulls out what looks to be like a file folder, decently thick. And as he opens it up, you see a rune on the front of it. And you know this rune is your name, Bryn. He kind of like flips through a couple papers. Part of your scouting regiment, yes? Your father, it seems?
Apparently.
Yes, usually bloodline-wise for the Valkyrie, if enough trauma is happening, you have a chance. If timing is correct between dreaming, I'm guessing it was a dream and not an awake vision.
No, I was awake.
Oh.
That was Nori when you were blinded, right?
Yeah, when I went blind.
Was I? I wasn't dreaming for that, was I? I didn't pass out or anything. God damn it.
If you were awake when you saw the vision, that means he was probably at the edge of death. If it happened while you were asleep, then it might have just been high levels of duress. There's a key difference between the two, but could you give me any information on what you saw?
One moment.
This is your info dump, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm very happy.
Emmerich doesn't have enough connections to ask the real questions.
I will be asking about Tiva, but I'm waiting till RX finishes his book, because I know when he's reading, he will not answer any questions.
But Cha is still pestering him anyways.
He's just giving one-word answers. Stuff. Magic. Good.
Yeah, I was awake during the vision. I was reaching to Nori 'cause she was in pain from something. It just... I was looking through his eyes. There was a fire. I just saw a dirt floor. It was blurry. Dirt, nothing green, nothing crazy. They asked why they must stand so tough through all the pain, that just wanted to know something from him. But was bleeding and coughing.
Unless I have anything to work off of, dirt floor and...
I know.
Is that really all the notes you took?
That's all. You didn't give me much. It was...
I gave you a couple
literally,
things.
there was a front and in front there was a fire, not a bonfire, but large. Beyond just the dirt on the floor, past it's too blurry. Blue and white skies, just seeing dirt, no greenery, nothing descriptive. It was trippy, I guess.
You saw the guy.
Ebony feet walked past him, barefoot. He said, "It does not matter to me, Floki, if you tell me what I need to know. For when you are dead, there is nothing holding you back from serving me."
There you go.
Yeah, I was getting there.
Well, from what I can tell, I'm guessing closest that puts it to is the Avivian Plains. And that would be the other portion of the Jinn that ended up doing blood magic.
There's that special magic again.
That's not a good thing. Okay, try and send some people out. Got a few people that are currently residing in the plains. See if they've heard anything and make some inquiries themselves. How long ago was that vision?
Days.
It's been like, let's see.
It was 3 days in the 3 days from the dream plane, plus the 3 days we took at the castle. So it's been about
So about 2 weeks.
6 to 7 days, isn't it?
Yeah, I would have said it was 2 weeks because I thought it was longer in the dream world or something.
Yeah, you guys had some time in there.
Yeah, we got spit out in 9 days in the future from the dream plane. So between when we left from Pawn and re-arrived from the dream plane, it was 9 days. And then it's been 3 days in Espivania, 3 days at the in Burfor, and then prior to talking to Pawn and going into the dream plane, it was probably maybe 2 days. So
A little over 2 weeks.
yeah.
I mean, fingers crossed that we find him, but if they were bloodletting him and he was already at the edge of death, then I would not get your hopes up.
I wasn't.
He's kind of flipping through the paperwork a little bit. So that leaves us with an interesting conundrum on his wife.
Yep. I've had a letter for her this whole time. I've been trying to get to her.
This whole time?
I'm fucking trying, but it seems like there was more important things to do.
Yeah, part of that is my fault.
Oh my goodness. All right. Guess we're sending you to District 7. We're supposed to update next of kin within a week of disappearance.
I thought because of what we were doing, you couldn't.
There's gradiences to what's going on. If they were known to just be missing, then we keep it under wraps, hence Rasmussen. If there's a high likelihood that they are POWs or dead, we let them know after a bit. Okay, put that on the calendar. Oh man. Well, at least I'm not going to be the one telling her.
Thanks a lot.
Or I just like gently pats Bryn.
Has there been any word of the others of that group?
No. Nothing. No. A couple bodies were found. But as far as the entirety of the group, it's still a questionable outcome. As you got out, only a few bodies were found. There's still about 6 to 7 at large. But with this vision that you've had now, knowing that there's POWs involved, it's going to tense things up a little bit as far as what we can do and ask for in the way of camaraderie between Cydia. Alright. Like I said, we can have Kazariak meet you all at the tavern. I think even I need a drink now, but still got more work to do.
When do you think I could go see his wife? Or...
Oh, yeah, that's happening tonight.
Oh, God, okay.
Yeah. So prep up for that one. As he kind of
I'm
like
gonna have a drink.
he kind of like flips through the last bits of the paper, then he stops for a moment and looks down. Sorry. Didn't know you didn't know.
Didn't know what, I guess. The parent thing?
Yes, that one. Well, at least I'm not going to be the only parent finding out they have a child.
Wait, what?
Oh, that's right, none of you asked. That's right. That. None of you knew. I guess Nora, you knew.
Yeah, Nori knew.
Well, how would mom not know that mom had a child?
That it's still alive and it's out here.
Yeah. Oh, okay, never mind.
I didn't know. Curiosity got to me, though, with that letter.
Yeah. We should have gotten to you about 2 months ago, but that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright. RX. Or kind of like snaps out of it. Richard, you see like the sweat that has been like. You've just been watching his forehead as there's like this drip of sweat about to fall off from his face, and
I'm doing like I'm like wiping the brow and like rubbing his shoulders, doing the Rocky Balboa shoulder massage. Like, you got this.
You got it, kid. Yeah. He kind of like snaps up and just like looks around and kind of stretches his hand and starts cracking his knuckles and slams both books shut and like stands up and immediately puts both of them under his arms and starts walking towards. And then he stops and kind of like looks down at Chiracha.
I would have been on his back just like the entire time.
Okay, he would stop and
Bird.
you can get off now.
He is like 6'8".
I appreciate, but
Oh, okay. He just gets down.
and he kind of like slowly takes the book from under his and like starts handing it back to you. I'd really like to possibly see the rest of that, if that's a possibility in the future.
He just does his bird smile and nods.
Oh, RX.
Apologize that half of it's empty now.
Empty?
He's been transcribing spells.
It's a spell book. I forgot about that.
Do we?
We're trying better ask for compensation.
RX did save our lives.
For the reference of any NPCs who would have cared, Amric was definitely embarrassed that he was in front of the commander and there's a big ass hole in his chainmail.
It's alright, you had the cloak of protection on.
Emmerich had an equivalent of armor crop top.
Yep. Which it really only looks like the abs are cut out. So it's much less a crop top and much more of like Pride Week on the Strip.
Good point, makes no comment.
It just needs like the leather straps to it, and
I mean, I still have my clothes on underneath. It's not like it's a straight window to my abs.
the acid from the rust monster would have rusted the clothes away too. Though I'm sure you would have put something over it besides Rashad's left shoe.
Kaporin has a new design in his designer book for clothing for the group.
Well, for those who would have seen then, you would have seen at least part of some kind of bird tattoo on Amric's chest.
I'm not sure if Rachel would be offended by that or not.
Not enough to tell exactly what it was, but
Oh,
It's a picture of a
what-
Goliath spinning a Kenku on a spit.
Question: would Bryn know if Alec works with other Valkyries a lot or anything like that?
You know him and Illinator close. And he obviously knows how things work with Valkyrie. if he was able to tell you about
Yeah.
the vision that you didn't even know.
Yeah, that's true. I guess she'd, I don't know, either ask him or see if he could get someone to figure out the thing on her tattoo. Either the changing of the runes or the
You're asking
flower.
him?
If we're still sitting here, hell yeah. Because she's like, I still don't know what the fuck this
He's
is.
like, I would have to see it to understand what you're really trying to talk about.
She'll show him the fucking flower. She's like, I don't care. I just want this fucking thing figured out.
That means you'd literally have to take off everything up top.
Not like you're modest.
That's fine.
As you start to do this, he'll take.
Well, no, she'll be like, okay, she won't get crazy, but she's definitely gonna try to at least show the back part. And
Well, he would
Just
just
kind of like the pull up the back of your shirt type of thing.
he would
a little bit.
he would like take you off to the side and just minor illusion a dark screen behind us.
Sure.
Nori also does that.
Which it's funny enough because as he minor illusions, it's 3 times the size of your minor illusion.
Makes sense. I am a level 1.
Well, he's got altered spells, just like RX. So as you show it, he's like, I don't see any flowers.
What? Or the stems on the
And
back.
he kind of like pulls, keeps your shirt up and shows you Nori. And Nori, the flowers aren't there. Like you see the stems coming down, but there's no flower heads right there anymore. It's like green lines that wrap around the sides of her body.
These things are green now? Were the stems always green?
The stems were always green.
Okay. Thought I had something else to worry about there for a second.
Okay, we checked this we checked this 3 days ago. And it's changed again.
Well, the stems had grown, and now
Yeah,
I thought they were up here. I guess are they there now?
You've got a quarter of your shirt lifted up from the back. I mean...
Yeah, we're gonna move it so it follow the freaking.
Well, the stems go all the way to the top, like you had noticed. But from your back, it's just all stem. There is no flower. But looks like the stems go down and over your kidneys and start to go towards your front.
And she'll explain that how, I guess she'll want Nori to show how big it started off, but explain that when she saw it, or when Nori saw it, it was so big, and the next time we checked it, and so forth, trying to explain how weird this fucking thing's been.
Vela kind of tracking, but not really. Without in-depth knowledge of what's going on, and you guys just kind of telling and then showing the little book of pictures, he's kind of
Our tattoos are changing, and we don't know why.
I get that the fact that they're changing. I'm just not sure what these flowers are, since all I see is a stick.
Well, originally they were what were they called? They were snow flowers, weren't they? Wasn't that what they were called? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, Bryn will move it so we can see the actual flower, I guess, of what it is.
You don't see the flowers.
It's just literally all stem?
That's on your back and sides, yeah.
No. What the hell? Okay, we're finding the flowers.
Okay,
Because I'm assuming they're somewhere.
Yes. After a while, and taking off more and more clothes, Nori you see first, because Felix kind of just standing off to the side. And
Yeah, I would hope so.
Nori, you see all the flowers connect, and so you've got one coming up the left side, one coming up the right side, and then one snakes over the almost up the armpit and over, and they all connect right around the heart. And all 3 are intertwined now over the heart.
Interesting.
Well, that's
Nori, as you're looking at it, you're kind of the fuck? And you swear you see just slight movement of the petals, as if there's a slight breeze going through them.
Alright, so the tattoo is moving again. It's moved before, like waving as though there was a breeze. But I don't know. This
Almost
is the most
looks-
drastic change it's had.
It looks like hyper realistic, almost as if you can reach out and pick a petal.
Nora reaches into Bryn's skin and
You can certainly try.
I don't know if I want to try.
Nora gets sucked into a parallel universe within Bryn's skin. Weird.
It is what happened the last time somebody poked something on somebody's skin.
Manifestations.
That's the last time you poked something that was on someone else's skin, you got sucked in. That's very true.
So nothing.
Pouring through the drink.
Are you guys doing anything? Just telling Valak what you see?
Yeah.
If his minor illusion is big enough and he'll stay up, Nori will use minor illusion to show what it looks like. So Bird can do what she wants, but show like here's what it looked like. Here's what it looks like now. This
Bryn,
is
it's far
the-
enough down for you now so you can see it too.
Great. I'm gonna see it moving. Can I poke it? I'll poke it.
You go to poke it, and it feels like your finger goes through your skin a little bit, and you can feel a flower.
Because we comfortable enough with pouring.
Excuse?
Jacques!
That's strange, and I'll just say, like, you can feel a flower? Like an actual flower?
You can feel the petal, you can feel the stem, and like this, like the sinew, that like fat fiber, this material that like flowers are made out of. You can feel all of it.
Strange.
And as you're like your hand, because it's not like touching your skin and then feeling it. It's not like a felt type of feel. Like you go to touch your skin and it's like a depth perception thing. You feel the impact of your skin, and then almost like a gelatin, your hand kind of continues on, but you don't see your hand in your skin. So it's not like it becomes a tattoo too, and you can touch it. You just see as you feel the flower, the tattoo of the flower move with your touching it. So it's almost like if your hand was invisible, and the amount of hand that she has to put in to feel it is like almost all the way to her finger.
Wait, wasn't there another? Oh, crud. I'm thinking, I can't say it, but I'm thinking it, and I can't say anything because little birdie lives are on the line.
Yeah, we stay away from any of that. Just say nothing, please. But you've had more than the flowers show up. Other runes have changed as well.
Well, the runes changing are a bit of a Valkyrie thing, as they unlock inner potential and gain access to different abilities. The runes will change along with that.
Honestly, those weren't as concerning as the flowers.
Do you grab the flower?
Oh god. Yeah, she's gonna. Yeah. Fuck it. This is already really weird. Why the hell not?
Okay. So you grab it, and you can see it slide, the tattoo actually slide across your skin as you pulled it a little bit. You get the sense that you're holding all three flowers. Valak says, it's moving again, back here.
Yeah, she's pulling out the flowers. How are you doing that?
I don't know. She's gonna put them back.
You let go of them, and they slowly slide back into place.
Oh, good. Good. Good.
Pouring kind of like
There's a black screen. You can't see anything going on.
Good point. Like has
You
an
just hear
epiphany.
these
and
words.
All right.
Is Racha aware that Bryn is doing Valkyrie-related things in there?
Probably. You guys know that Nori and Bryn kind of get this secluded when they're checking tattoos.
Or
And then
saw that.
so I guess because Bryn never actually said it, would Racha be able to understand that she's having Valak check them?
Yeah, if Valak's behind the screen with them, they're probably asking questions, especially since
Alright.
she just got a bunch of information Valkyrie-wise from him.
Cool. Can I try to sneak in there?
You can certainly try. I cannot tell you what consequences you will receive, but you can certainly try.
Are you saying that in terms of like Bryn being naked, or are you saying that in terms of like touching the spell? Well, I guess I'd be very ginger. Can I touch the Valak spell or not? Like, what happens if I? All right, it doesn't seem like it hurts at all. Because that's my first concern with it.
Nope.
Then yes, I would go. I would say like, "How's it going in there?" And if I didn't get a response, I'd sneak in.
Either of you two responding?
No, she's like.
No,
She's gonna-
ignoring
she's
the
gonna
bird.
start
We
moving the
we have
finger.
we have higher priority things on our plate at the moment.
Alright, no one responds to you. You kind of push your way through the darkness, and then you see, as you get through it, and you kind of step there, expecting to see Bryn, Nori, and Valak, you see you're in a room with a large table and chairs, and all the way at the other end of the room is Kaporin, Amrik, and a black wall, and Rashi.
I was gonna say, yeah, Nori clocks for Cha, but nope.
He's just sort of like. So did I actually like teleport all the way over, or am I like sticking my head through and this is what I'm seeing?
It's a sort of arcane gate. So once you step into it, you go all the way through it.
All right, cool. I just wasn't sure if I was like peeking my head through and I was looking at my own butt, kind of thing.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
Richard's just gonna be standing over there like, huh, like looking around, like.
There's nothing around you.
Yeah.
Since they said that the flowers were moving, Bryn will start to pull at them again. See what happens.
Okay. You pulling straight out or just like moving it side to side?
Since we moved side to side before, right? God, it's scaring the crap out of me, but she'll do that. Yeah, she'll pull them out because we haven't done that yet.
Okay. So you start to pull them out. You feel like thin lines of rope, but doused in cold water. As you pull it out, little by little, different parts on your back and your sides, where all the stems go.
I won't pull them all, I won't pull it completely out, but I want to see at least, I want to be able to see, a good section of it, not leave some of it there.
Yeah, no, I'm saying just as you're starting to pull it out a little bit, not even till your fingers are out of your skin yet, but you can feel everything slightly move as you start to pull it out. You get the sense that if you pulled out far enough, it probably all would come out.
I'll tell Valak and Nori that, but I'm not gonna pull them all the way up. I don't know. I don't know what this is.
Yeah. But are you pulling them out so, like, the petals come out? Or...
Yeah, she wants to see if she can get the petals out.
Okay. So you start to pull it out, and just as your fingertips are about to reach the surface of the skin, you start to see just this little petal of blue creep out first. And a little bit more until all the heads of the flowers are out. And then all of a sudden you feel as all the stems come sliding out from your body, and now you're holding 3 snowflowers intertwined together, and they all connect to one stem. And it's only about 3 inches tall, like it originally was on your back.
Are they like actual flowers, or is it like a weird construct or something? Okay.
You, as a druid, can reach out to it and feel that it's a flower.
I don't know if this is good or bad. I don't know. I don't have an idea about this.
Well, we have a bouquet now.
The tiny bouquet.
Itty bitty.
But yeah, so you have them in your hand now. Back still to Valek. It's gone, just FYI.
Yeah.
That's because they're here, and she'll like turn and show him the flowers in her hand.
He looks at the flowers, and because Bryn, you're kind of like doing it off to the side to show him, so Nori can see him. And Nori, you see him just smile at him. That's a good thing. It's a good omen. I'd put them back if I were you.
And try to put them back, I guess.
Putting them back in the same spot that you pulled them out from, it's almost, you see the stems kind of reach out towards your skin. And this time, as they go in, warmth. You just feel a calming sense of emotion go in as the stems slowly basically implant themselves into your skin and start to reach back out. And the way that they reach out, it almost feels like a child and an adult are giving you like a warm hug at the same time. And then as the last bit of the flower goes back in, it's almost as if you can feel a head rest on your chest before the sensation slowly goes away.
You said it was a good omen. What did you mean by that?
The deity that uses that symbology. Old. Not many people know of them. And they're good. It's been a long time since I've been able to see someone touched by them, and it gives hope. Maybe we're not as fucked as I thought we were. And for the first time, weird thing for you to see, Nori. The little tear kind of creeps up on the corner of his eye. And he kind of just blinks it away and it's gone for a moment, but he seems overtly happy.
Nori's very curious.
I don't think you have anything to fear from any of that. And like I said, the runes transforming on their own, that's going to continue to happen for as long as you gain more experience in the world and unlock more potential in more of your abilities. Don't take... unfortunately, most in Valkyrie aren't told this prior to all the information, though if you were to have stayed with your kin, they would have told you as it was happening, oh, that is a natural thing that's going to happen as you progress through life, but unfortunately, though I consider it a boon to the Ixian military to have you here, since you've been away when most of this is probably happening, at least since you could realize that it was happening, that is what's going on. He kind of like waves his fingers and your clothes like seem to put themselves back on your body.
Wonderful.
But, well, could have done that in the first place to get them off.
It's okay.
But you always need to ask for consent. Thank
Very
you!
important.
Still don't understand why, but okay.
You don't understand why? Prepare, this is why you're
He's the
problematic.
troublesome one, isn't he?
Yes.
Scuff.
Oh, you could say that.
I smack Corner on the back of the head.
Okay, I need to ask Arx about Tiva. This is something that I cannot wait on anymore.
The minor illusion goes and Arx is gone.
Motherfucker!
I'm kidding, he's there. He wasn't just gonna ghost you.
I was gonna be
Or
pissed.
on for drink.
Kaporn's just
Nori
like
goes-
ogling him in the corner. So we're not related. Nice.
Nori just looks at him, death glare. Step off.
I mean, I'm not sure you got the better end of that deal.
Nori will go over to Arx and go, okay, so you were so kind as to drop a bombshell on me and then leave. Would you care to elaborate how the fuck my mentor's alive? Please.
He kind of looks at you, not with a dumbfounded look or a surprised look, just more of like a thinking about it look, and he looks at Valek. Valek kind of nods his head. I can take you to her.
Yeah. I think I'd like to do that.
That's only a mini session right there.
Say it again?
Mini session.
Mini session.
I mean, I can take you to her, but it's not gonna be what you think it is.
Arx, there's been so much that has happened. You could take me to a wall and I could talk to a rock and I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, I could do that. It'd be hilarious on my end. Because I am sure you would have a full-on conversation with it until I told you that it's not going to respond.
But you've done that before.
I know, which is why I know it could happen. And it would be just as funny the second time around.
Arx, you asshole.
Takes one to know one.
It's like, whack him.
Oh, you patting me for good luck. I appreciate. We really got to get some muscle mass on you, sister.
We're working on it. Me and Brenna are gonna start a gym.
Don't forget Rashi, and we're gonna call it the bar gym.
Let me know how that one comes out.
I just rolled a nat 20 on performance, but it rolled in D&D Beyond, and I'm so upset right now.
While we're in between topics, he'll kind of look between Arx and Valek, and he'll lift his cloak up a little bit. Do either of you know where I can buy some new armor?
Well, we are in Castletown, so... Blacksmith? Valek kind of just nods to this. No, Bryn is going to be busy for a bit. Looks at all the Sidians that are left. We'll get someone to take you.
Richa would, because he was trying to go inside the thing for a reason. He's gonna go up to Valek and go, "My turn," and he's not gonna think about it either. He'll try to activate his wings and go, "What's that?"
How close are you getting to him?
I'd probably be within like 5 to 10 feet.
You like tugging on his shoulder and being like, "My turn."
Pretty much, yeah, more or less.
If you're standing within 3 feet of him, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I'd probably be, if it didn't, and I would understand why, I'd back up and show.
Okay. And as you back up and let them go, that one's interesting. And he kind of looks immediately to you, Bryn. Been teaching? Didn't think that was your forte.
Nope. I have not.
Interesting.
This is a him thing.
It does seem
Yep.
like he would be the one to get involved with extracurricular activities, the rest of you. Well, let's be fair. And he points to Richa. He would be the one to accidentally get himself in something. Points to Kaporin. He would be the one to purposely get himself into something. Then he points to Nori. You just get involved with everything.
Yeah. I feel like so much has happened and I don't know why, and it's a lot. Okay, Rachel has actual questions.
Yes. What is it specifically that you're asking for here? It seems you have a pretty good grasp on what you have available.
What is it?
It's your manifestation.
Oh, that's right. Remember when I was blind in the cave, Richa? When I was a bat, I used echolocation, and when you had your wings out, you were much taller, or part of you was. It was interesting.
Why?
Unfortunately, unless I know the exact origination of how you came to understand all this, I don't know why.
He was fucking around with a die.
Wait, does Copernicus even know that it was the dice that did it?
Well,
I
Warren
don't
put
think so. Because Richard did that roll on his own, I believe.
So the first roll was the dagger, the second roll was the experience, and then the third roll, none of us know what happened with it because it was into the bag of holding.
Warren
And
was
so,
there for the last two.
yeah, I think he
Well,
saw the experience
One of them
when
was just you when you were rolling dice with that girl and the old man.
yeah, that one was the one that spawned the dagger.
On the floor.
No, actually, it was on the table. Because he rolled it and it literally popped right there and freaked the shit out of the girl and the old man.
But Kaporn did see the experience, and I would assume that he would put two and two together that
Well,
that
technically,
die-
I mean, he rolled it. It's not like it happened immediately for him because he had to take a long rest for it to take effect.
Yeah, and technically as well, it also the roll you did see spawned the amulet that you got that is now no longer there. So you would just associate that with that.
So yeah,
I agree.
But I mean, Rich Ha would understand that that's what it is,
Yeah.
and he probably wouldn't tell Valek that that's what it is. That how he got it. He'd say something to the effect of like, "It just came to me."
roll a deception check. I told you, Valix modifier already. And he didn't roll a -1, I can tell you that.
I know, right?
He just kind of looks at you, realizes you're keeping something from him, but he's not going to push too much as to what it is. Though he's got an eye on you now.
would I be able to recognize that he's understanding something more than
Oh yeah, he's not trying
what I
to
am?
hide it.
I
He's kind of doing like the, right, keep your secrets, bird.
he'd point towards Bryn and say something like, "I get my divine intervention from God."
Mm, no, not from that god. He doesn't. It's not connected to what you've got going on.
Which one?
He points to Bryn. Her deity.
Mine.
If it was actually your deity, you would know, wouldn't you?
Just sort of like pinches his brow. It's like, which one? Mine.
You've got to understand, Shaw, that to give, you need to get, you need to give. And half truths are only going to give you half answers.
Half answers.
Oh, as some people like to call them, half-ass answers. It's a Valkyrie thing that you've got going on, though I'm sure Bryn has told you this already.
He just nods.
There's a few Valkyrie gods. Yodemeyer is the one that the most monks derive their power from, but does not have any direct correlation in deities to them. They do not pray to him, if that's what you're asking. He was just the one to create the art.
He just nods in understanding. Kind of knowing, like, Bryn told him that, or told Racha that already, that Yordemeyer was probably the one. But to have it, like, reconfirmed kind of makes him feel a little bit better. And so, as a sign of good faith, because he is being truthful, he'll show him the dice.
Vela kind of like looks down, and being in this room, taking out the dice, you see upon the different faces of the dice, each of the numbers that are on there, different colors or different effects are all coming off the dice in different ways. Some come off like with this red glow, while others are like disappearing and then reappearing. One of them is almost golden, and one like kind of like seems to like liquidate and drip off the side before reconjoining and going back onto the face of the die. Oh. Well then.
That didn't do that before.
He's kind of looking at you all and looking at the dice.
All of us equally confused.
Warren's kind of looking at it like,
Make
is that the same?
make an acrobatics check for Cha. He's making a sleight of hand check against you.
Does he make me roll it again? This is gonna be brutal.
No. He's taking it from you.
No, that's what I'm saying. And like, I flinch and it drops out of my hand and I roll it.
Oh no. He's much too deft to let it roll.
I mean, I was offering it to him. I wasn't actually trying to like hold it from him.
As he moves quickly, it does kind of make you and like throw it up in the air, and he catches it and just like palms it down and holds it to his side. I mean, this is your property, so I will give it back. But, and he kind of holds it up in the light and looks at it and turns it. This is a powerful piece of magic. A lot of good
Where?
and a lot of bad can be done with this. This
Where did you get that?
This specifically comes from remember when I told you that I went down to the Cowan Clan lands and looked over the body of Gishmana? He points to the dice. Gishmana. This is crafted from the carcass of Gishmana.
You?
A being of chaotic influence, though neutral in a lot of ways. He had done horrible things and also had given the world great boons. So any piece of him would basically do the same. The possibilities are endless as to what could or could not have happened with this item. And seeing a few numbers are missing, I'm guessing, well, and he kind of just gestures towards Racha's arms, which are kind of still just chilling. Luckily, you've gotten the good end of things so far.
Do the rest of us
Maybe.
know about that third one in the bag? No, is that just a Racha one?
Everybody saw the third one pretty much because I dropped it into the bag and like a giant 6 flared across the front of it, like I had rolled it.
So it is your property, and I am more than willing to return it, but just know that only in positions of possibly, I wouldn't even say dire consequence, only in the positions of utmost comfortable confidence would I rule this again, if I were you. Because there's no telling what might come out of this.
Confidence is fading in the eyes of Kaporn.
Paparin is not allowed within 10 feet of this dice.
In another dimension half the time. On a bird who he can't even touch.
On the realization that Kaporn is in the same room as a very dangerous artifact, hand on the shoulder, locked in place.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Kaporn's ready to just walk out the door and go have a drink. He's like, I'm so sick of this.
Paparin, you have to understand. I want to trust you with things, but it just... I
Never
can't.
works out. Yes.
Out of character, the last time you touched something that wasn't yours, you broke a boat.
Last time Racha touched something, he fixed a boat.
Arguably worse.
He's touched so many things since then, but yes, I see your point.
Kaporn and Racha, 2 peas in a pod.
Kaporn,
With
just
wildly
goes to
different
Valley.
outcomes.
Okay, 2 heads of a coin.
Kaporn just asks Valak, which way to the tavern? And he's like, prepare to walk out the door.
He's holding
Matt-
the dice out if you
Matt-
want to take it, Richa.
Should there be magic restrictions, sir, on them? Or anything they should be warned about being here?
Ixia's changed a bit since you've last been here. I'm not
Child
saying
is-
openly shoot fireballs down the street, but I'm saying that at least minor bits of magic are more commonplace now. Just, it's still a new tentative outlier in the city, so don't be aiming anything at anyone specifically. Even if they ask for it, and he kind of looks at you, Nori.
Why me? Why me? When did I do this?
He kind of pulls into his fabric once more and pulls out a much larger folder with your name on the front of it.
God damn it.
Just going off the record, is all.
Rachel would just sort of be like looking towards everybody else about taking the dice back, and I was like, I mean, it's an option.
Hey, I'm not
Like-
touching that thing. Do what you want.
Rachel, just please, not in any of the towns.
He'll just sort of take it back and put it gingerly back in.
All right. So with that, I have some people escort you, Kapoor and Amrik and Rashi, to the tavern. Oh, and Rachel. Oryx, you've got your sister. Bryn, if you come with me, please. And everyone leaves except Oryx and Ori. You guys are the last ones left. All right, sis. Ready to meet an old friend?
More or less.
Follow me. And he walks out the other door that everyone else left from. So the opposite
All right, well-
direction.
Follow Oryx.
Bryn, you guys walk out of the rooms, and you guys get to a hallway where it splits in different directions. Valek kind of nods to one of the guards that's helping the rest of the group, and you guys go in that direction. Yes, Amrik? Thought Amrik was raising his hand like...
No, sorry, my Zoom was breaking, so.
No worries. The guards continue on with Racha, Amrik, and Kaporan, and Rashi. And Bryn, you get down with Valek a little bit. And he kind of stops about halfway down a hallway. Today's been interesting.
It's one way to say it.
And I know you are going to be dealing with something hyper emotional here in just a moment. But can I just interlude and be like, what the fuck? I have a daughter? That's
yes,
going to
yes,
be
you
an
do.
interesting conversation with the missus.
Yeah, that will be as well. I unfortunately do not know how to help you with that.
Well, I'd hope you give me some sort of insight since, the whole sleeping together thing. I mean, I just found out I had a daughter, so I do not yet have it in me emotionally to dislike you. Just have to, off the cuff. So, if anything, I know you more than I know her.
Plus, you've stabbed me, so that's, another thing. Not that I hold it against you, but it's a thing that she doesn't know about yet. Don't worry. I won't tell her.
Oh no, please do. I feel like that would help make me feel more in line as a father figure.
I can guarantee you're already doing a great job compared to what she had.
I hope so. A lot has gone on, not only in her life, but with everything else in this situation. Can you give me a breakdown of how she came to find this information, and what has happened to her mother? And you can just say you tell him, or
Okay,
how
great.
much, or how much you want to tell him at least.
She found out about it during the vision, right, Nori?
It was
Just
during the
double
Yeah,
checking.
it was a
Yeah.
dream
During
spell.
the dream. Yeah. Oh, right. So yeah, she'll tell him about that, and that it wasn't too long ago. That she's been going through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll tell about the dream spell.
You
and
see
all
him
that.
get visibly more angry by the end of it. Bare knuckling, white knuckling a fist down at his side. Though he's not letting it come across too much on his face. Alright, well, it's good to know I'm going to be killing him soon. Anyway,
I think he invited you to try, so
I
think
love
you'll have a
an
couple people.
invitation.
I think you'll have a couple people on your side on that one.
This is my job. I was supposed to do this in the past. The only reason...
I'm sure Nori would love to be there and help us out.
Well, maybe I could bring her there at the end, but... I don't need anything else distracting me this time around.
That's fair.
So, that was a lot. Anyway, now it's time for your emotional trauma.
Uh-huh. Been putting this one off for a while.
With that, he kind of like puts his hand on your shoulder, and as he turns, you both you start to take a step, but it feels like you step through the ground, and you kind of like free fall for a second. You do like 2 turns before you land on the ground, and you're outside a home.
I feel like Bryn's a pro at this teleporting shit right now between the dreamland and doing it with Arix. She's just like, all right, let's fucking go.
She's like, oh, no, I don't feel good. Closing my eyes. And, okay, solid ground. But yeah, you hit ground, and the gravel kind of like crunches under and slides under your feet a little bit, and you let go of the breath that you held in during that time. And standing out in the front yard is a woman currently putting clothes up on a line. And with the impact that you guys made of when you landed and a little bit of the sliding against the gravel, she kind of like stops what she's doing and looks around the corner. And add about 20-something years to you, and different colored eyes, spitting image of yourself. And she kind of like looks at you and takes it back for a moment, like how much you look like her, and sees Valek and kind of just gives him a bit of a bow. And she's about to speak, but we'll do that in a mini session. And we're gonna end tonight there, guys.
Woo! That was a lot.
But you guys are back in Ixia? Back for some, here for the
gonna
first
say,
time
really,
for most.
Yeah, I'm like, we can't really say we're back.
Well, for Amric and for Bray.
Yeah, Emmerich.
This is where I began this game
And
a year and a half ago.
2 of the players, this is returning home.
Yeah, this is hometown territory. Welcome back to Castle
I
Town.
need to see if the innkeeper knows of Barrick.
Even the split second out of character knowledge for him to ask that disappears instantly.
Well, Amric knows Barrick, so Amric can ask. All right. So, any questions? Sorry, went a little long, but there's a lot of information to be had.
No,
Yeah, there was some that I actually wanted to ask, but I wouldn't know how to ask it as Racha. But it would actually bother him. What? Who the hell did we rob in Emerald's Clay or whatever?
Oh, the boss?
Yeah, the person that sent JJ at us.
Yeah. If you can find a way to ask it, go ahead and send me a message and I'll respond.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like having to kill those 2 people really has bothered Racha, so it would be something he'd want to bring up.
Gotcha.
But I just don't know how to do it yet.
Roger that. Any other questions?
Yeah. And can Lauren keep it in that 20 performance?
You're playing a rock solo in your head.
I have no questions, but I hope you're ready for me crying during that mini session.
I hope you're ready for Nori yelling at Tiva! Yay!
I hope you guys are ready. My ego grew 3 sizes with the correct theory.
We really didn't need that to happen. So you need to bring it back down.
That was, like 4 months ago, I brought that theory into our chat. I was like, come on, guys. Barnabas is a secret Ixian mole, and it's Illinade. And I was right there.
No, instead it's just my dad.
I thought that was funnier.
Yeah.
I can't wait to tell Nori he stabbed me.
Yeah, he's down for it. He's like, I knew I was beating up my daughter's girlfriend before I even knew I had a daughter. Dad of the
At
year.
least he's a positive view on me somehow.
All right, guys. Any questions or anything that comes up, feel free to message me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Mini sessions for at least 2 of you. Or Chaw, if you end up finding the correct questions, there might be a small mini session for you. But other than that, the rest of you guys are drinking. And we'll probably pick up back when the rest of the group meets you guys at the tavern.
Oh God, we don't even. Brenda didn't even have time for anything to drink. She's. Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have that flask still or no?
Right in
We're
front
both
of
gonna come back super emotional, and it's just gonna be great.
right in front of her mom, she's just uncorking a flask and just downing it. Who are you? Hold on. All right, I'm your daughter. Alrighty, guys. So have a great night. If I don't talk to you all before then, have a great weekend, and we'll see everyone on Monday.
Yep. See you Monday.
Good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Goodbye.
Thank you all for those that stay with us. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.